The following program is hosted by immature, irreverent, obnoxious, and often disgusting young men. Listener discretion is advised.
This time on Nude Clan, I'm fragile, but I'm not that fragile.
Other way around.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Nude Clan, the video game podcast that plays and reviews games that you didn't ask for.
That's right.
This time, today, as you can tell, we're going to be reviewing Death Stranding, the Hideo Kojima game that came out a couple months back.
Oh, it's Hideo Kojima game?
Yeah, it is. It was written, directed, and starred by Hideo Kojima.
Oh, man, you know what? I couldn't tell it.
His acting chops.
I wish you would have given me any kind of inkling that was
this
the case.
This is a Hideo Kojima review of a Hideo Kojima game.
Yeah, I love
Starring
how
Hideo Kojima.
I love how Hideo Kojima pretended to be Conan O'Brien, acting as Conan O'Brien in the game. I love how he pretended to be Norman
Jeff
Reedus.
Keighley.
So it's Hideo Kojima as Norman Reedus as Sam Porter Bridges. It's his version of Norman Reedus. It's all him.
Well, that explains the lack of dialogue on Sam's part.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we are going to be reviewing that game today. Cameron, Caleb, and Cameron didn't play it, but the rest of us, the other three of us, did play it. That's why we have Jake on today to help us review it. And so yeah, that'll be exciting. We're going to do a giveaway today. That'll be exciting too. We should have done this like 2 weeks ago. I owe a couple giveaways as well. I have to send those off. I keep forgetting. Sorry, I will give you your Switch gift card. I promise. I just keep forgetting. But before we get into that, let's just quickly go over what everyone's been playing for the week. Craig, I guess.
Just Modern Warfare and then some Outer Worlds.
Okay. Very nice.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah, pretty much the same for me. Just a little bit of Modern Warfare and much more Outer Worlds.
How's that Outer Worlds? You liking it?
I like it. I enjoy it.
It's basically like Fallout had a baby with Mass Effect.
Yeah, in a way, depending on how you play the game. I have some opinions about it already, but I'll get into that later.
Yeah. Will you?
Yeah.
Interesting. All right. What about you, Jake?
I've been playing Ye 6 and Police Nuts to tie in the Hideo Kojima thing.
Oh, did he do both of those?
Police Nuts, not Ye's.
Oh, okay.
Ye 6 is an action RPG series that started a long time ago.
It started 5 games ago.
Yeah, back in like 80, what?
I don't know.
88, 89. So
Something like that.
it's taken them a while.
All right. I have played a decent amount, a ton of Death Stranding this week. Like, just so many hours of Death Stranding. I'm truly stranded in death. And I played a decent amount of Modern Warfare, the remake, as well. That's going to be my multiplayer for a little while, I think. I'm enjoying it. It's been pretty good.
Yeah, they just had a new update, so they added some of the OG maps of the original Modern Warfare.
Nice.
So I'm wondering if... I've heard rumors that they're going to add things like Rust to it. So I'm wondering if they're going to add the classic maps of all the Modern Warfare games.
There's some great maps.
Which would be sweet. Because if
Some
we get some
Seatown.
Seatown back...
Yeah, I miss Seatown.
Me too.
It's not as good as the ones from Modern Warfare 2, but it's still pretty damn good.
I know. I want Seatown and some High Rise, and then the world will be complete.
Yeah, High Rise is such a good map, dude. Jeez. There's so much shit you can get away with in High Rise.
Yeah, there is. It's an amazing sniping map, too.
Yeah, climbing on the roof and shit. Like, dude. That's that one is... I don't know. A lot of me wants... I think High Rise might be the better of High Rise and Rust. But Rust is just It's like
Rust is really fun for those like bullshit knife throwing matches that we like to have.
It's a similar map to the cargo one, but it's
The
way
Shipment
better.
one?
But it's way better than Shipment. It's like less. It's less chaotic, which is crazy because it's like the same size basically, and it's very similar. But there's more you can do to not get killed in 2 seconds.
Well, I mean, there's like stuff you can climb on in Rust.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Shipment is very lateral.
Yeah, you're just in. You just die. It's horrible. So it's like the devolved Rust. It's kind of what Shipment is. It's like it's like the other part of the shipyard. You know, like you got Rust, like the big structure and like all the things, and like the corner of it is the other one, and it's just terrible, and flat and death. But I'm excited to get into that some more. That'll be a lot of fun.
I mean, yeah, I'm looking forward to it too.
Should.
What
I
really
feel
need
like
is the prop hunt.
I quite enjoy it. I feel like it's so like there's differences, but I feel like it's the closest to that Modern Warfare 2 era in gameplay than they've been in a long time.
Yeah,
and I really
Warfare 2
enjoy
was
that.
real fun.
I feel like I have a friend who says it's not. He thinks it's complete trash still, but I don't know.
I don't know.
I like it a lot.
It's slower, but I don't know.
It's slow.
I think you only think
It's
it's slow
fast.
because the last few Call of Duties have been like bullshit, like flying around, double jumping.
Try coming to this
kind of
after
things.
playing mostly just Battlefield for a while. Let me tell you.
Dude, Battlefield is
slow.
also real slow. So
Yeah.
because the maps are huge, and even
Dude,
the biggest
yeah.
map in Call of Duty is like half that size.
I mean, it's fucking like right now in Battlefield, you can go on these long ass fucking flanks and just proceed slowly and clear stuff out. You can be so much more strategic with positioning and stuff than you can be in Call of Duty. Whereas Call of Duty, you got to keep fucking moving and shooting as fast as you can, because the second you start to slow down and try to take cover, you're getting shot from behind already.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing about Call of Duty. You play that, for the arcade shooter feeling. Battlefield 5, stupid as it is, it's still a arcade shooter type thing. It's not like this huge strategical thing. Like, I mean, you can be more strategic in it, but it's still a mainstream shooter, which is why I kind of want to get into like the more even slower paced strategy based shooters.
Like Sniper Elite.
No, I'm like thinking about maybe.
I do kind of want to try the online for that.
I'm thinking maybe more like Arma or Squad
wow.
and stuff like that. But see, the hard part about that is you can't play it unless you're part of a community with it. I mean, you can, but you're not going to have as much fun as you would unless you're actually playing with
you
people.
have to play it. Like,
And then I also kind of want to try Escape from Tarkov as well.
yeah.
The
There's a
last
bunch of-
Battlefield that I played was Bad Company 2, and if those maps in the newer Battlefields are the fraction of the size I was playing, I know exactly what you're talking about. Those are sprawling maps. They go beyond acres.
Yeah, it's huge, and they've been doing that the whole time.
Jeez.
I like it a lot, but something about 5 just doesn't click as much to me. I don't know why.
It's better now. I mean,
I like 4 the most.
Yeah. Oh,
Still, like, I mean, the being able to destroy the buildings and shit, it's fantastic.
yeah. 1 was cool. I think 1's a good game.
That
but-
one map
So-
in Battlefield where like they had that huge building in the middle that like eventually could fall down.
Yeah, the
Like,
China-
that one's
China
fucking
one.
sweet.
they did just release an update that extended the time to kill on most weapons, and they're kind of backing off a little bit from it. But it's still, like, it's better now than it has been for a long time with these new maps and stuff. So I think you would enjoy it right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm finding a lot of enjoyment out of it.
Well, maybe I'll have to get into it.
Yeah, maybe you should.
All right, well, we know what everyone's been playing this week, guys, but the real question, the only question, some would say, anyone beat a game this week?
Nope, not this week,
No.
but soon though.
Not technically this week.
I'm now off work until the 6th.
Oh, today was your first day?
Yep.
It's like Host Hog's going to be Craig.
I mean, it's going to be
I'm
quick
like-
anyway.
Halfway through Outer Worlds, I think. So I only have like probably 7 hours left of that.
So
I
you're,
got a lot of games.
You're
I'm getting
off
close
until
at the end on.
until the 6th. Are you getting holiday pay for all that?
Mhm.
Okay. Do they
Well,
pay you your full
And I have
8
PTO
hours?
left over, so I'm going to use that too.
So during during the holiday, they're paying you for your full 8 hours.
Well, he's getting paid.
I do 410s, but they're giving me 8 hours of the holiday pay each day. That just Yeah.
Right.
So
That
for
you
the
know.
2 holidays, he gets to pay, and then he uses his time off for the
Yeah.
other days.
Yeah.
So he basically doesn't take any time off during the year, which is insanity.
I mean,
so
I'm
that
the
you
same
can
way,
enjoy
but
it.
I just used a whole fuck ton of it here at the end. I had enough PTO just to take like a month off.
Yeah, he should have done it.
No.
That would have been nice.
You can't just take a whole fucking month off.
Personal time off. What is this?
Yeah, you can, but you just don't. Yeah,
Just
and
an
I
absolute irresponsibility.
don't know if it is. If you get paid, I mean, Cameron, it doesn't matter. Cameron
Oh,
doesn't.
I was referring to myself, not Cameron.
No, Cameron doesn't get overtime or anything.
Yeah,
so
Cameron works
Yeah.
his hands to the bone.
leaving is
Mad
just
props.
I mean, I work
it's fingertips to the
I
bone
work
more.
my my 8 hours, and I don't get paid for more, so I don't.
Yeah, you don't do more. Yeah,
I
you
mean,
do
back-
more though.
I do.
Yeah.
And back in the day, when this team was the team I'm on was first put together, like I had to put in a lot of extra time.
Yeah.
But I have been compensated for that
exactly.
fairly. So
Exactly. That's
And-
why you do
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
You might not have been compensated right away.
I wasn't
long
given overtime for that. I just did what I was my duty to do for my job and my and then. And then later, as performance reviews and stuff like that happened, they recognized my input. So
Yeah, I beat Death Stranding. So
Sweet.
Hog for the hosts. Craig, first place, 39. I am in second with 31, and Cameron is in last with 13. Man, I have not beaten very many games in the recent future. Or the recent
Recent future.
the recent future, I also have not beaten very many games in.
It's not going to happen.
Such an odd phrase.
I think 13. I think that is the least amount of games I've beat yet so far in a year.
How did we
Is
let you
it?
get
On the
away
show.
with that? Because Joe is gone now. Something is
Is
gone.
that the least
There's no-
amount that
Because
he's
the
had?
first year I beat 17 games.
Yep.
I think the next year he beat like one more.
Yeah.
And then I think this might
What
be
did,
the
what did he have
lowest.
last year?
I don't know for sure, but I think it
Backbone
was.
does not
I think it was.
exist.
so what
It's like a
happened was
jellyfish.
some of the Force entries I've never picked for a Force entry.
That and
yes.
the delays have been heavier this year than
Yeah.
ever before. I think
That's true, yeah.
so. That pushes everything back out further and further. So congratulations, minimalist Cameron. Got lots of time though. Lots of time. I mean, shit. Look at this. Some of these games like Let's Go Pikachu, Resi
Fuck.
2, DMC 5. Those are like 10-hour games.
Yeah, you could beat him in a day.
Like Mortal Kombat 11, that's like 3 hours if you want it to be, which
Yeah.
Cameron probably did. Drake's Fortune, that's really short too.
Yeah.
It's like 8.
Sekiro, there's some biggies in there though.
Yeah.
Gundam Breaker
Took
was
me a
only
long
like
time still to beat that
4.
Sekiro.
Red Dead 2.
The whole
That's
reason
hours.
why I beat New Gundam Breaker is because I could do it in 4 hours.
Yeah.
It wasn't because he wanted to.
No, I fucking hated that game.
Parts of it were okay.
No,
And
fuck
there's
that.
a trap you find yourself in when you find things on sale.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I could beat this in an hour. And then you just decide to beat it for beating its sake. It's
Well, I beat it.
Well, mostly
because I
what it
wanted
was is
to
like I
not
had already
have to
beat it,
plan
and I
the
was like,
episode.
"Hey, Cam, you should play this because
So we
it's only
could-
like 4 hours."
So we could review it instead of having to come up with bullshit for the episode.
Yeah.
somehow that was less work.
Well, yeah. Well, less
it
work, more
was.
An
trauma.
outline of an episode.
Less
Okay.
work, but more just like, what the fuck is this game?
Yeah. Less work, more time. That's what you could say. For me, it's the time that's the problem. It's not the work.
Yeah.
As you could see by waking me up with the darts to my face.
Yeah.
No, you did that again.
Well, so Craig was late because of a train.
How late
It's,
were you?
Like half an hour.
Wow, that's crazy. You're
And so I
usually,
just
like,
let
way
Schweiss
early.
sleep
Well,
through
I
that.
left my brother's place like 15 minutes early, so I could be here at 15 minutes early. You know,
Yeah.
because like he's 2 minutes away.
So,
But then
whenever-
the train came and people came up right behind me immediately, so I couldn't fucking leave. And then the train fucking stopped twice in the middle of the thing, and I'm like, how are they allowed to do that shit? Fuck that.
It's a train yard, like right here.
Just live in a small town. Your time's not that important. But
Fuck them. They can go.
But then when something like that happens and Choice is asleep, I always let him sleep because he needs to sleep.
no reason
So when
to-
Craig finally got here, I went upstairs and knocked on the door, opened it. I saw Choice move around, stretch and stuff. I'm like, okay, he's up. So I closed the door, went back downstairs. 15 minutes later, he's still not down here. So I go back up and just throw darts at him until he wakes up. Like, not like dartboard darts, but like Nerf darts.
It's just this huge.
Start pricking him.
It's like a loud chunk sound. I'm like, ah!
Get the big heavy dart too. So it's like
lawn dart, just like throws it up.
See, I got this fancy taser now.
You wake up and then you pass out again. But he's awake after he's up from the tase.
I wonder, I don't want to start doing stuff like that, but it'd be super funny just to fucking and to see what happens to you as you wake up. Fight or flight or what you do.
we just got to get another air horn.
Yeah, because no one really tases people right as they wake up, or wake them up with a taser. What would happen? Yeah, what would happen?
Yeah.
Would you be so awake, or would you just pass out even further?
How's your heart health right now?
It probably could be better. I mean, I'm fat, so
okay. Think you could take a zap or two?
I could probably survive a zap. Yeah.
Okay.
Might do me a lot of good too. I don't know.
You might need to.
I might. Yeah. I might need the ball gag while he's
I mean, he woke up right away with the first start. The second one was just for fun.
Oh, did you hit me twice? Jesus. All right, so yeah, that's what that's how the hog is. Guys, get your hog in. End of the year's coming. It's real close. We've got one more episode after today that'll come out, and then 2019, the whole decade, the 2010s will come to a close. So that's exciting. Get your hog in, get your points.
Also, give us nominations for our best episode, worst episode, best rant, best moment, whatever. We need some of those noms for our first episode of the year.
Yeah,
for the Nude Clan Awards.
Yeah, get those by next week. I've got some that I'll throw up too. And
if you could provide timestamps, guys, while you're listening, that would be super helpful, because otherwise we have to search through the episode for the thing that you're talking about.
Yeah, if not,
we have 2 to 3 hour episodes, so it's kind of annoying.
Yeah, well, you could just listen to it at work. You work for 10 hours. I mean, I know that'll cut.
I no longer am working.
Oh, that's true. You got all the time in the world then. Just listen to the whole podcast.
Now is the game time.
Just listen to the entire podcast in the next 2 weeks.
No,
you could probably do it.
No, if I did anything, it would be to increase my Audible dick
pretty
size.
Close. You'd have to do the 2 times speed.
But Audible,
since the doubles got put on because After Dark.
Audible is temporary. This is forever.
Audible is forever.
This is forever, Craig.
Audible dick goes to Craig, so
hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, you've got even more than Joe now, don't you? By a lot, I think.
Oh yeah, Joe only has 50 books.
Dude, it was me who was the leader in it until Craig started working a job where you can fucking listen to Audible the whole damn day. It was a momentous occasion 4 months ago when he finally surpassed me, but now he's done so much more than that.
Oh yeah, what is your thing at? Because I posted mine yesterday.
I know.
And that was point.
There's no point to get into an Audible dick measuring contest because you just don't have the time to listen that Craig does.
That was also halfway. That was at my break too. So there's 4 more hours on top of that.
But anyways, I have 2 months, 11 days, 22 hours. Which is a sizable amount of listening time.
I have an entire month more than.
But he can listen to Audible the whole time he's at work. There's just no competing with that. If you want to make it your thing.
Leaving it
good.
On, sleeps and it can't.
I mean, I've thought about doing that.
If
but
anybody
it doesn't
knows
much
of some really long, good books,
it does no benefit really.
Send them to me.
Listening to books.
Also, I recommend Musashi very much. You guys should all read it. It's great. It's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. 53 hours.
Jesus.
It's fantastic.
I'm still working on collecting all of the Wheel of Time books that I have yet to read. I get 2 credits a month now, so I'm just going to use one of them for something I actually want to listen to, and then one of them for that
Dude,
shit.
just fucking buy the credits.
It's
cheaper.
It is, but I use it enough to get to.
I mean, it's cheaper for you.
It's cheaper for everybody. It's $11 for a credit when you do the buy 3 thing.
Yeah, it's only
so it's $33 for 3 credits, and it's normally $15 for the single month thing.
Well,
can you buy credits even when you're not subscribed?
No,
I don't
I don't think you can.
I don't know.
Premium.
Yeah, I don't know
And
if you
then-
can.
So that's what I do. I will listen to, if I have the 1 credit a month thing, and then I'll buy credits whenever I need more.
I know
Yeah.
you can do you should do the yearly thing then. Just like get all your credits front loaded and then just buy credits when you want them.
It's cheaper per month if you do the yearly.
Yeah, I think it's like 10% off the total thing.
Okay.
Yeah, so that would be a good idea for you, and then you can
Yeah.
just buy more because you still have the
Oh,
subscription,
yeah.
so you can buy monthly.
I can do shit like that now.
Yeah,
I should do that with my
They have
insurance now.
they have the 2-year thing too. I mean,
My car
not the 2 year,
insurance.
the times 2 thing.
that's what you should have been doing all along.
Just didn't have the monthly funds for that.
I wish they had a 3
now.
credit option.
I know it's bullshit that 2 is the most. It's not
Yeah.
enough.
I need more. Because I burn through books so fast. It's not even funny.
Yeah,
That's what happens. You listen to it all
there's
fucking day.
52 weeks in a year, man, and I like the Musashi book was a great find because it's like 53 hours, which when I'm working the overtime, I have 50 hours a week. Like that covers the whole week, which is fantastic.
do you listen to it on
But-
1.25 or what?
No, I listen to it on the regular speed.
Oh, really?
If it's a more boring narrator, I'll turn up the speed a little bit just to like liven it up.
I'm at 1.25 no matter what. But
I'd burn through books way faster if I did that, and
Yeah.
I can't. I
Afford
want.
it?
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
I
can't.
could. I just don't want to.
Well, if you budget and that doesn't fit your budget, then you can't afford it.
I mean, I can.
Well,
I
you
can
know,
what I
do you
want.
budget credit?
I buy the credits like all the time.
he just
when
wants to make
when
it
I need-
last.
I need. Yeah, I want it to last.
I used to
know?
do that too, but I haven't. I changed it this year. I went to 1.25.
The
'Cause
one book,
I even started re-listening to some of my stuff.
the
like
one book I
have
had to listen to at 1.5 times speed though was. Let me pull it up.
because I have like the
Nice.
entire Sherlock Holmes things. That's like it was like 74 hours or something like that. So that was nice. That was like 2-3 weeks.
When I started doing stuff on like 1.5 times speed, I can't go back now.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I'll watch Netflix and Hulu and new stuff at like 1.5 just so I can get it along quicker, so I can have the time to actually watch it, and I can't go back.
I don't do that with shows. If it's a show that I'm
if
willing
it's
to
something
speed up,
on the
it's not.
highest caliber of like Game of Thrones, I'll watch it at normal speed. But if
Yeah.
it's something that's kind of like mediocre, that I will somewhat enjoy a little bit, I'll speed it up.
See, I just don't watch
But most
those
shows
things.
aren't even worth it.
So there was one book that was just so boring. Not boring, just like the narrator. He didn't have like any sort of like, you know, when people talk, they just have a natural cadence to how they say words, and they have inflections and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They emphasize stuff. Well, this narrator.
Fragile.
He was it was so fucking boring and dry that the material can be kind of boring, because I was reading Keynes Hayek, you know, about Keynesian economics versus Hayekian economics, and the subject matter was interesting, but this narrator, so fucking boring. And so he would just enunciate things slowly, and so when I listened at 1.5
We're
speed,
listening to an econ book, though.
yeah, but so when I listened to it at 1.5 speed, all of a sudden he sounded like a normal person who was
Yeah.
talking at a normal rate of speed.
Oh yeah, I had to do that for
And he would now he didn't have actual inflection
something else.
that you could discern when he's talking normal, but then when he speeded up, it actually gave him like a normal person like way of speaking, and that
Oh,
was
yeah.
the only
Roll
fucking
out
way I
with
could listen to that.
statistics.
Dude, yeah, I had to do the same thing for Charlemagne. Like, I couldn't listen to that at the normal speed. The guy was just talking.
This is
way too
why
slow,
it's
and I
so
was like,
fucking important to find a wonderful narrator. There's certain books that, you know, you might be interested in, but they're either like just not popular books. They don't get a really good voice actor to read them.
Yeah.
the greatest
Samuel-
narrator of all time is still Neville Jason.
Samuel L. Jackson with "Go the Fuck to Sleep."
Dude, Neville Jason only did one book, and it was The Once and Future King, and he's so fucking good.
I think the author being in a book is good if it's nonfiction, but Stephen King
Yeah, if
read
it's
one
a
of
book
his
they-
books, and I wanted to blow my fucking
If it's
brains
like an
out.
Yeah.
if it's an autobiography, then it's fine.
Yeah, well, I don't know. If it's a book on like philosophy or something like that, I think it
there's
works
a
too.
thing.
Yeah,
though.
that works.
If it's
That
something
I don't
that's
want Elon
yours,
Musk
I had,
reading his own biography.
I had
certain people are just
Norse
not.
mythology written by Neil Gaiman, and he read it himself, and that was
Certain
bad.
people are just not good at speaking publicly. Not just like how nervous you are when you speak publicly, just like how the
That's
person
true.
talks. Some people when they read stuff, like certain people at this table, don't have inflection. They're just reading off of a piece of paper and they're just reading lines, and they forget how to pause for punctuation and stuff like that, and they're just reading straight, and it's boring. But then you have people who can add a little bit of life and pizzazz in what they're talking about.
yeah, that's true. The person I'm thinking of is also a good lecturer.
Yeah, and then having a
Just good at
great
talking.
public speaking it's such a great way to capture your audience and pull them in. So having a lecturer or a professor who's really good at involving and getting people excited through the way he could talk and pull people in a natural way, that's so important too in learning.
Yeah.
You learn better when you have better teachers. It's it's a fact, but
Yeah.
But another thing that certain narrators, even if they're good at reading, they're not good at portraying the different characters. They'll do something that's ridiculous, like do a weird fucking voice if it's a male reading the book, but he's trying to do a female character, and you're just like, just the way he does it, just irks you, and you can't get past it, and you
Yeah.
can't finish the book.
Oh, dude! If you want to hear fucking weird ass voice work,
later.
listen to the
Later.
Wind Up Bird Chronicle. Fucking weird as shit. All right, that book starts off with this guy like talking about how he's cooking spaghetti, and then some chick calls, and then like later it goes on to her talking about her like wet vag, and like the dude is narrating it the whole time. He starts going into like a breathy female type voice while he's talking about his wet vag, like right after talking about spaghetti, and I was like, "What the?" I was getting psyche whiplash, dude. It was weird. It was weird as shit. That's an
spaghetti.
hour into this book. All right, it's freaking weird.
Nice. audibletrial.com/nude clan if you're interested in more.
Maybe we should get into narrating a
website.
book together. We should find a book, and then we'll all read it and decide who should do which character.
Yeah.
Well, we had a podcast of a similar nature, which crashed and burned.
No, not just a
I-
podcast,
I
but
know.
let's narrate a book.
Similar
Yes.
nature. What do you mean?
Super sexy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, duh. Yeah, that's the only.
Schweiss, you're losing it, man.
So you need multiple years of my life right there.
It made you age horribly.
Yeah. Yeah, check that out. There's a lot of good stuff on Audible. We all love it. Let's do some Death Stranding, guys.
How long since he flatlined?
We don't know the exact.
I still
DOD,
don't
but
understand
I'd
that.
say it's been upwards of 40 hours.
The whole body disposal
body may
teams.
be
I don't
present.
understand it. Like why
My soul is
why
on
the
the
fuck did they
beach.
strap the bodies down?
I'm
It makes
already
no
dead.
sense.
That I never.
They take up like the entire truck. They could fit multiple bodies.
But they don't want the body to hit the floor.
Sam, what's wrong? Sam, can you hear me? Sam, do you read me?
Do you copy?
All right, so Death Stranding is a 2019, I guess, adventure game. I wouldn't say action adventure, but
Adventure Sim.
No, action adventure is a more tight knit thing. It's more like Uncharted. That one would be more of an action adventure.
yeah, released or developed, produced, starred in, made manifest, thought of first, conceived of, and hinted at by
He
Hideo
is in there
Kojima.
as an oil spill. You guys ever get that?
What?
Where he captures you when you're sleeping with Sam. He's beneath on your legs and grabs you by your legs.
No, I never saw that.
Oh, that's Hideo in the game.
Yeah, I said before that he doesn't always put himself in his games, but apparently
That's
he does.
a fucking lie.
Apparently he does like all the time. I've just never seen him in there.
Yeah.
I didn't see him in Death Stranding either.
Yeah, so I guess it's just an action game, is what the internet says.
What?
Which is the least.
I would not consider that an action game at all.
This is obviously a Stranding game. Like
that. Yeah, it is.
It is tactical Stranding espionage.
Yeah.
Tactical Stranding.
So the game was released initially on November 8th, 2019 for PS4 and Windows. Will be released in. It'll be released like
Summer?
they've said summer to fall of 2020. So it'll come out for PC, but it's a PlayStation exclusive for right now. Of course, starring numerous actual actors: Mads Mikkelsen, Lea Seydoux, Margaret Qualley, Norman Reedus, Troy Baker, Tommy Earl Jenkins. Which I was like, that's probably the black guy, and then I was like, oh yeah, it's the black guy. So. I guess
Starring
I'm
in Moonlight.
Which black guy?
It's not the Moonlight guy. It's the Allstate guy. That's who it is.
I digress.
Yeah, look at that. Isn't that the Allstate guy?
No.
No.
Actually,
That
I
guy
will
looks
say
more
that-
like Keith
I will
David
say-
than anything.
No, not really.
how much better would the game be if it was the Allstate guy? Actually, I don't think it'd be
Actually,
any
it wouldn't
better.
be.
I-
He's the
actor's
most
way better.
attractive character in the game. You can't get rid of the best looking person in the game.
I mean, it's more than Lea Seydoux, really. I mean, I've been kind of turned off by the whole like
That guy, he's the most like, yeah,
dude. Okay, let's talk
he's
about
the most attractive person in the game.
Okay, it's interesting for coming from you, but all right. So before we get into the story, guys, I can't get over the fragile thing, right? Like I have to bring this up because it bothers
Stupid.
me so much.
And here you were trying to tell me it was the greatest thing in the game.
Yeah, I was just fucking with you.
I knew
said
you
that.
were because I was like, dude, you have as much of a problem with it as I do. Because like what it is like we've had a past of reading books, right, where these authors always have these fucking lines that they always repeat over and over and
people
over
don't talk
again.
like that.
Yeah,
people don't have
the
catchphrases.
It's the fucking it's the fucking catchphrase, and
normal people don't
This
fucking
is
go
a
around
TV sitcom.
and
we-
then don't
and we've
have this thing
experienced
they
this-
say all the fucking time.
we've experienced it in like every David Eddings book, the Wheel of Time, the Witcher series, like fucking everything has something, just something, right? This game has it too. There's a character named Fragile who makes a play on her own name as her
So
catchphrase.
stupid.
And you know what? One time it would have been forgiven. One time.
Yeah, that's
But
like
they
something-
say
yeah.
it like 20 times.
Well, here's what really bothers me is like when you let's look at Japanese
the
people.
last time is the worst time,
It
too.
is, yeah. She
It's
never says
awful.
fragile the same time twice in her whole life. And this is like it's like the ain't no getting off of this train thing. Like it's the Japanese just have this like obsession with these little quirky sayings. But see, ain't no getting off of this train. They say that the same every time. It's ain't no getting off of this train. This
Because
is
it
like
didn't have a voice.
you can't fucking
But-
you can't have a little catchphrase where she's like the first time she's like I'm fragile, but I'm not
No,
that fragile.
no. See,
I'm
that's just
fragile,
ways to do
but
it,
I'm
not
not
being a
that
good
fragile. It's like
No.
say it the same way. You can't have a catchphrase that
Okay,
changes.
see, the way that
That's on
she's
her.
saying it is the first time she says it is her name, which is Fragile. But then she says it the French way the second time, which is like the meaning of the word is like it's fragile, and so it, like that's why she says it that way.
Fragile.
So
Must
she's
be
like,
French.
yeah. So she's like, I'm fragile, but I'm not that fragile.
yeah,
Every time, and it's okay. You get the backstory with her, and when she says
you get
it,
to see her old
when-
ass.
when she says it, then when she's like forcibly exposed to the time fall. Then it's okay.
Time
That was the
fall.
only time that I accepted it, and every time before and after that was a sin.
You can
gaming
say
sin?
something like that you can say in a conversation like once, like with one, like that with a person, you can use that once. You get only
like,
one use.
It was literally like to show people that she's determined, you know, like
Right.
whatever. And
No, but what
the
if,
one time that it was like the one time it was used in that specific way was fine.
Right.
Every other time was just like a joke, and I was
She's
like,
talking about her hard past or whatnot. Yeah, you can use that. I mean, that's funny. Yeah, you can use it. But using it over and over again, like people,
dude, yeah,
normal
they
people
say
have catchphrases.
a shitload, and I was just like,
It's like 10
And then it's not
times.
even like it's like people
But
running for
it's
office. They'll have like a slogan
it's
of what they'll say.
noticeable,
But
though.
even that would be a terrible
if
slogan.
you're bum rushing it, if
when you constantly have to reassure someone that you're not fragile, I think you might be fragile.
Yeah, you might be fragile. Is what. I just don't like that she never says it the same way twice. It's like you can't. And then they quoted it at the end. They both say it. It's they ain't no getting off of this train. It's like him and Sam both like, I'm fragile, but I'm not that fragile. And they say it differently. It's like, how can you have a catchphrase and you can't say it with the person because the person's going to pull a fucking a low punch and just say it differently than the way you're going to say it because they say it differently every single time. It's like, I can't get over that.
This
It's
is
so
why
fucking dumb.
whoever was in the voice acting booth should have done a better job and listened to all the audios on deck before putting this game out and going, oh, this one sounds significantly different than this one. Maybe we should go in and do some redubs.
no, I'm pretty sure it was purposeful.
I think it's
because
just
I'm pretty sure her
stupid is what
character
it
is
is.
French,
I'm
and that's
saying
why she
I'm not
says
gonna-
it in the French way.
Right.
The second
That's
I'm
time.
not
fine.
gonna
It
blame-
is a French word.
It was
so-
a play on both her name and the way you're supposed
Right.
to actually say it.
I'm not going to blame
So-
Hideo for that. I'm going to blame Léa Seydoux for not being that good of an actress.
What I really hate is just the overuse. I don't really care about the double way of saying it. I just mostly hate how they say it multiple times in the game. It's unforgivable.
Yeah.
Absolutely unforgivable.
Yeah. So, okay. So the setting of the game, post-apocalyptic United States of America. Something has happened called the Death Stranding, which causes beached things, BTs, who are these random, like invisible well, they're invisible.
They're creatures that are essentially stuck in...
The other world.
No, it's in between
there's-
worlds.
Yeah, they're basically stuck in... Jesus. What's the beach?
Purgatory.
Purgatory, yes.
Yeah.
They're basically stuck in purgatory, and something has allowed them to like come through en masse, and so they're causing a bunch of void outs by eating people, which causes a lot of destruction, which releases chiralium into the atmosphere, which creates the time fall, which means that everything basically gets fucked by like the rapidly advancing time, because time is now inside the rain, which is a concept that I fucking both like and hate at the same time.
I fucking like it and hate it.
Dude, it is a source of anger for me because they don't explain it.
It's just part of the whole.
It's an aspect of the
it's just
lore. But it's connected.
I know it's an
through
aspect
a
of the
beach.
lore, but here's the thing: like,
it's just a Hideo Kojima metaphor.
no, see, the thing that I hate about it is like, basically, there's time in the rain now. There's a concept of actual time that's being liquefied in rain. All right. That is something that should be explained, but is only explained by, chiralium caused it, which means literally nothing because they don't really explain what chiralium is at all, but they use it all the time in multiple ways. And then later in the game, you get to a part where it's snowing everywhere. And then all they say is like, with the snow, it has like twice the effect of normal time fall. And I'm like, how?
But it's half the water.
How does it do that? It's introducing the idea of frozen time,
Right.
rapidly advancing time further than just regular rainwater.
Why wouldn't fucking
time water?
Why
Like,
wouldn't frozen time water signify
And it
a
doesn't-
slow down or a
It's a-
stopping of time?
What I don't understand is like, does it mean that like, because there's like it's still on the ground that it's increasing the thing? Because that wouldn't make any fucking sense because it's not touching anything that you're using or have on your back because it's on the ground. So that doesn't necessarily make sense.
It's
so the
time
only thing is that like
radiation.
it's
it's
increasing
radiating
the
time.
amount of
The chiral, in
time.
a way,
It's
is like
condensing it, which doesn't make any more sense because a raindrop and a snowflake have different mass. Like, I can't fathom what they possibly mean by it has twice the effect of normal time
is a
fall.
tortilla and one is a sandwich.
Okay.
Gotcha.
I can't wrap my head around the idea of frozen time.
What about
that is also actually
frozen
time?
Frozen in time, but
It's not frozen in time, but
you-
it furthers the time faster, which makes no sense.
Okay, so the time fall is just a metaphor for.
It's not a metaphor; it's an actual thing, and I hate it.
It's a physical
The
representation.
concept is interesting, but I hate
of the
its
metaphor
function.
of time passing without, like, I don't know, maybe time passing without change.
Also,
or without-
You only
they
hate
have
it because of its purpose, and that's
Also,
to
I-
go
also, I
cargo
hate
and
it.
Make it slow.
So what confuses me? Does this game have a time plot?
no,
Actually, no, it's not.
which is surprising.
And to its benefit,
Yeah, and to its benefit, because if it did, I'd hate it.
So, so basically, the whole idea is that the timefall has ruined the United States infrastructure.
That
is
and
what
the
it is.
Stranding and the Void Outs, yeah.
It's made it so that everyone's kind of into these
What's it
small
doing to the
little.
rest
So
of the world,
everybody's
know.
retreated into bunkers, which has caused the requirement of...
This could be like 28 Days Later, where it's only in the U.S. potentially.
No, it's worldwide.
But did they talk about that?
Yes.
Oh, I'm not paying attention. That's the 70 hours of gameplay that probably.
All right, spoilers.
A lot of the-
Spoilers right now, just so you guys know. If you're not wanting the spoilers,
Oh, we're gonna
why the fuck
spoil
are you
it.
listening? Okay, so the reason, Schweiss, that it happens everywhere is because it's an extinction event.
Oh yeah, that's
so
true,
it's
that's true.
happening all over the world, not just in the U.S.
That's true. It is an extinction thing. That's right.
yeah.
but they don't do it in depth in like cutscenes. It's one of those things, which is an unfortunate thing. Is a ton of disposition is in the interviews. Exposition. Thank you, Craig. Is in the interviews and logs.
Yeah.
Dialogue. And that's what I
Oh,
hate.
so you can't get the story from playing the game?
No, you
have to
can.
read the
You
Most of it,
do,
logs?
You miss one or two
But
small details.
the things that should
But
be
it's not.
explained are hidden away.
Right. So
And
the
I
one thing you're
hate
not
it.
going to be able to pick up is exactly what happened per se to Sam's wife and his kid.
Yeah, that's
Well,
they
never
never-
explained.
You know-
it's
you know
talked
what
about
happened,
one
though.
time, vaguely.
Right. So
You know that a
Void Out was
void
triggered.
out happened while he was away, that causing them to die. Oh no, he was there, but he repatriated. So like he was the only one who survived.
He's a repatriate,
and then
yeah.
he was blamed for the void out because he was the only one who was alive,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but
which is fucking
that
stupid.
part
'cause
doesn't
they would have
fully
known
get the
about-
depth that I think it should to pushing the
repatriating.
story forward, because you find out that it's his wife, who used to be his therapist, ended up deciding to stop being his therapist anymore.
That's the real crux. It's improper
And ended up getting pregnant, and their
doctor
kid they figured out
relationships.
had dooms, and we'll explain dooms later on. And so she OD'd. I think that's pretty important, given a better backstory to Sam, which you probably didn't know until I just mentioned it. Now, Schwartz.
She OD'd on what?
Some form
She
of
was trying to
drugs. They
kill
just-
herself.
She OD'd on Dooms.
She was trying to kill herself
She
to get
tried
because she
killing
saw what
herself with
Doom's.
the sperm and eggs that you had to deliver
she
for
was-
some unnecessary reason.
Yeah,
That was a weird mission.
Yeah, that's the mission from Die Hard. Means, Sam, I need you to go fuck your wife right now. The time of the month has come. And like you put it off for a little while. And then
I
it's
made
just,
my monthly sperm donation, and I need you to deliver it to
Yeah.
all the cities in
Sam,
the
Am I allowed to
UCA.
do it? No, you have to go pick up my package.
Sam, those women aren't going to be in heat forever. I need you to deliver the seed to them immediately.
I can't be everywhere at once.
I can only die Hardman so many times. Get on it
Gotta
as soon
go
as you
full
can.
John McClane.
By the way, the two reasons that he's called Die Hardman is because he can also repatriate like Sam, and
God
also
damn it.
because his name is John McClane.
He can't repatriate.
Referencing.
Yes, he can.
No, he said he can't.
No, he can. That's why he's called Die Hardman.
No,
No, he's called Die Hardman because he found himself impossible to die in the battlefield because what's his name?
Well, yeah, he helped
Kept
save him a lot, but he
alive.
can
Yeah.
also repatriate.
no, he's not he said he's not a repatriate.
But it's such a stupid.
When did he say that?
name,
There's a
Die
cutscene near the
Hardman.
end where he says that. I think you heard him say that he can, because he said, "Unlike you, I can't repatriate."
Yeah.
But I was
It's-
impossible to kill in my own
When
way.
Die Hardman is given out that exposition after the shit happens on the beach the first time, you literally get into that BT fight on the way back, and he's given that huge disposition on why he's doing what he's doing. And he's saying, I'm going to go there with the gun and take care of this myself. I can't repatriate. Like, I can't fucking say that word. Like you.
That's because it's a bullshit word.
Yeah. And it's got this huge dramatic theme going in the background, and that's kind of like what tied me into saying, all right, Die Hardman's probably the best character.
Yeah, he's
Such
pretty
a
cool.
stupid name, though.
Oh, yeah, every single... Sam Porter Bridges, and then you figure out who Dead Man is, and... Yeah,
Everyone has
everyone has a quirky
him.
name that's also
That's
explaining
just-
exactly what they are.
Yeah, it's really
that's
kind
just
of annoying.
What Hideo's been doing since early Metal Gear Solid.
He
days.
took the names directly from Mega Man, essentially.
Yeah, that's it. It is what he's been doing since Metal Gear Solid. It's always been like very on the nose. Like this is what this character is.
Yeah.
So she is fragile because I mean she is, but not any necessarily. Not
But
necessarily.
she's not that.
She's not that fragile. But so we haven't actually explained anything other than the setting. That's pretty much where it is. So there's these little colonies, these little cities that have survived, and
Well, they were created after the
Survived the
stuff
test of time.
happened. So essentially, they had to start holing up in these special cities, which I still don't
Somehow are not
completely
affected by
understand. Yeah, that's exactly why I don't understand it, because apparently, I watched a video about like the lore of Death Stranding, and essentially, to figure out some of this extra stuff. And apparently, according to this video I saw, the timefall completely just changed up the landscape of the United States.
I was going to say this game would probably be better if you
but-
could walk around places that actually exist.
yeah.
I mean, because that's one of the things I was thinking about. Because this is a design thing, but like,
Kinda like
you
in,
don't see jack shit.
Horizon
You're crossing
Zero Dawn.
America, and you see nothing.
Like,
It's
if it was like
completely
Horizon Zero
barren.
Dawn,
There
where you
is
can
no
actually go
significant
through
landmarks.
places
Yeah,
or
everything's-
landmarks that actually exist that you've been to before, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Horizon Zero Dawn.
Apparently,
Yeah.
everything's
but
been
in the
The
game,
Last of Us.
in the
Apparently,
game,
everything's been
just
erased
about
by the time
walking. Just just about walking. There's no actual
where there
place
should
to
be
walk
landmarks.
Yeah.
Red Dead 2 did that really
Some
well too.
remembrances of what was before. I feel like you would feel more like you're
It would
losing
feel.
the
It would
world.
honestly feel more like America.
Yeah.
America.
If you saw some stuff that made it seem like that.
That too. But like,
I think
how
the
to
Gate Bridge
connect,
is tipped
how to
over
emotionally
into the
connect
ocean.
someone to a game about something that you're losing, a past that's being erased, is seeing landmarks
Yeah,
that you, as a
seeing-
person who
seeing the
might have
past,
seen, and
yeah.
seeing that past being erased by time. You just,
Like
but
Shao
now
Kahn
you've given the
merging the
player this
Netherrealm.
world
Especially
that doesn't
since,
look like it, like the world that they know at all.
Yeah, especially since
And so
like
there's no
the
emotional
most
connection.
fucked up thing about the story is like the Stranding stuff started happening like roughly 30 years ago in the game's timeline, like a little more than that. I think it was like maybe 40. I don't know exactly, because your character is supposed to be like 30 years old.
So it's deteriorating.
So everything's
pretty
like,
fast.
so the United States has changed completely. So I really don't understand how
They missed something there, I think.
how they created stuff that can resist the time fall as well as they have, as well as like everything being completely gone.
Yeah. So these little colonies are called knot cities, which
Why?
Because everything has to be connected in some way by some like rope strand thing, not
There's
ties.
knots.
Because it's
Which
all about the
means-
ties that bind people together, Cam. It's all about the strands we make in our lives to connect to each other, because that's what the game is.
bridge
and it
a
mentions,
connection.
yeah, to bridge a connection, because that's what the game is, and it tells you about it like every 2 fucking seconds, because it can't
Hey.
just leave the theme alone.
Craig, chill. Tomorrow is in your hands.
God damn it, dude.
yeah. So they have a private company called Bridges, and they basically deliver supplies in between.
They deliver bridges.
Private.
Yeah.
I got it more of a vibe that it's the government.
It is in a way. The
It's-
Bridges was created by Bridge It.
The vice president.
And anyway, no, she is the president.
Oh, I didn't think
not
of her
when
name. I
Bridges
didn't
was
think of her
born.
name that way. Bridge the gap.
Bridget Strand. By the way,
Yeah.
God damn it, dude! I thought about that today, even. And
Yeah,
I was like,
that's
oh my
stupid.
God.
You got it now?
Yes, I just thought about it. I didn't really think about it, but then I was like, oh my God, it's so obvious. But anyway, Yeah, so she created bridges to support these porters as part of like the government type thing, but then other porters, like private companies, started popping up like Fragile. The fragile one started popping up and stuff like that. So,
but she's not. We deal in fragile, but not that fragile.
But Bridges isn't just like a porter thing. It's like also a bunch of other stuff. It's it's a company that's essentially made to reconnect all of America together.
Yeah, and as far as I can tell, nobody actually gets paid.
To me.
Yeah, nobody gets paid because there's no money anymore.
He gets paid in Monster.
So Bridges,
he gets a shitload of Monster Energy.
Yes. Bridges does a lot of. They have
and
a lot
blood,
of
in his own blood. He's paid in his own feces as well.
Monster is the only company that survives.
Yeah, Monster Energy and the Postal Services of Post have survived. That's it.
Wait, isn't the motorcycles and stuff Yamaha or what was
Yamaha survived.
Okay,
too.
so
the Japanese
those two companies,
Yamaha.
Monster Energy and Yamaha, are the only survivors.
Really, I think he's a big fan of
the extinction event.
He's a big fan of exports, is what I'm getting out of this. Like those are the two things.
I would have
that
put my
combine
money on Tencent as being the Japanese company to survive, not Yamaha.
Chinese,
but
yeah,
they're Chinese. Yeah.
Dude, it's man. And then the Monster Energy is such a huge thing in the game too. It's like disgusting how big it is.
How does it still exist?
You get the canteens, dude.
I don't know if it's
and a doctor gives you an increased canteen size.
The doctor gives you a bonus thing. He's like, "Here, this is for you," and it's like an extra large canteen for your Monster Energy. I'm like, from a doctor, really?
Yeah, dude. And like every water, if you run out of Monster Energy, you can go to any water source and fill it up, and it converts it to Monster Energy. You just get more Monster Energy.
So Timefall is Monster,
and Monster is Time.
Dude,
that's what I was trying to tell Craig. It's not raining.
No,
the Timefall is Monster Energy.
Because he can change it to beer, though.
He gets the Timefall porter.
Yeah, I never did though. I
think it's because you didn't read the email.
Schweiss?
I'm pretty sure there's an email that you get.
There's Timefall
where the guy
porter, so
talks
they're
about
admitting that it's
because you have to deliver it to the
alcohol made from Timefall.
Yeah, well, it makes it ferment faster. That's like the coolest idea in the game. I'm like, they make the beer super fast because they use Timefall to like rapidly age the beer.
Okay, but see, let's dissect that a little bit here. So it makes the fermenting happen faster because it exposes to more time. But what you are actually doing is exposing the fucking. Okay, does Timefall make your character move faster? Can he eat faster? Does his
everything is the same. It only
so exposing
it changes
a
the time
process
of whatever it hits.
To Timefall, you're just going to kill the bacteria faster without it being able to ferment anything.
No, it ages it. It ages it rapidly.
Okay, there's a difference between aging and fermenting. You age something that's already fermented.
It essentially thrusts it forward in time.
Yes, because you can actually urinate.
It's not aging it. It's
so technically it should thrust you forward in time to where you will be, so you should be able to deliver faster.
Probably. I don't know. I don't really understand it. I hate it. I hate the.
You
I hate
don't
pretty much.
You can't say it's going to ferment faster when it's an actual biological process going on.
But
Except for the concept.
if you can make if you can grow or farm things faster, you're actually speeding up the biological process
there's a
faster.
farm in Kansas where they do that exact thing,
when a
then you
person
visit it.
is exposed to Timefall, yes, you'll age faster, but that's because your metabolism increases, and so you should be able to do things faster for a shorter amount of time.
It just makes you old.
But if it's still damaging you at the same time, wouldn't
Well, it's damaging you because it's fast forwarding your natural biological process.
By the way, Cam,
but it would cut the energy output.
The special floaty bug things that you can eat also decrease the effects of Timefall.
Huh?
The special floaty bug things that you eat in the game also decrease the effects of Timefall.
And how you do so is that you piss in a certain spot, fermenting it, and it'll grow into a mushroom cloud. And if enough players online go piss in the
mushroom cloud?
It's mushrooms, yeah.
Is that what those are?
Well,
Yes.
they're mushrooms.
Mushrooms.
And then it'll ferment itself into the cryptobite.
Yes,
It's a giant fungal thing, and then the bugs go and
it's like alcohol.
live off of it.
But mushrooms live off of rotting and decaying things.
It doesn't make any sense.
There's so many fucking holes
Fun
in this
guy.
game. That's why you
no,
don't
we
make a
don't even-
game about
really
time.
is.
That's why you don't make a
mainly-
game that has time in it at all.
All right, so
because you make a mistake.
So basically, Bridges goes out and delivers everything, and they do a lot of governmental stuff and for the UCA, which is the United Cities of America, because that's what it's been reduced
UCA.
to. And they have a mental
Knots of America.
So they have a mental connection to what's called a bridge. What's called a bridge baby, which is a premature child, which kind of reflects the state between life and death. It's kind of the idea.
Yeah.
Wasn't it stillbirth?
No,
No,
they're
it's,
not.
Okay.
It's the mother. Like the mother dies.
Stillbirth means
and
they're
then-
dead when they're born.
True.
Yeah, and you can't use.
So do they fabricate
Certain people use
bridge babies then?
Yeah, no.
Do they cause
No,
bridge
so
babies?
essentially,
Yes.
yeah, they
So
cause
they are
them.
causing babies to be born.
They remove
prematurely
them-
to kill
Essentially,
the
what
mother.
they do is they like basically kill the mom or brain dead the mom.
How
and,
horrible. They're
and
monsters,
then
all
remove
of
the
them.
babies.
It is
Yeah.
part of it. Yeah.
Because the still mother is what they call them when they're brain dead mothers is like they have a weird connection to the to
We've
babies.
progressed so far that we abort the mothers during pregnancy.
This is the end game of this is the end game of the pro-life argument.
Yes.
We're gonna abort the mother.
Wouldn't it be like pro-choice? Because you gotta like the
mothers don't get to choose shit.
No,
do
no,
they?
no. You choose the baby over the mom. Is what I'm saying.
It's ultimate pro-choice. Yeah,
It's the ultimate progression.
yeah,
The baby chooses to abort the mother.
yeah.
So,
But yeah, in order
Backstory for
to
that.
keep the bridge babies active, they have to have a connection to the still mother somehow through
Yeah.
the chiral network,
Yeah.
which makes
and the
No
backstory to that
sense.
is they basically, when doing research in Manhattan, which is part of the setup, to all of
research
this
that is
happened,
never explained.
They figure out that he was messing around. Some person, one of the doctors, was messing around and figured out that the umbilical cord was tied into this other side, the purgatory.
Yeah,
And so that's what started up the bridge program into finding out
it's
that
all
it's
about them
the,
cords and them
yeah,
strands
that
and
it
them
was the
ropes.
babies that could actually sense and see the BTs.
Yeah, which is a
Yeah.
common myth in our society, where like babies can or
Yeah.
children
Babies
are-
can still see the
yeah,
the
that and
afterlife
like
and
children
stuff like that.
are closer to God, so to speak, and so they can sense death, things like that. Because there's a lot of weird cases where kids will ask if like someone has died, and then like the person will have died. But I mean, like, you know,
Oh yeah,
how many-
another family member who just went. to
yeah,
the
there's
hospital.
weird stuff, and I don't know if that's just like happenstance or what, but
Anecdotal.
it's a the thing.
experiences,
It's a thing that we have.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to make of it, it's whatever. But so and that's an obvious one. It's like, oh, they're kind of in between life and death. But then I was like, well, I don't know if they're really in between life and death, because it's been alive for a while. I mean, the baby
they're
can, like,
alive.
They're
It's
pretty
held
much alive.
suspended
Like-
in time. You
But they
forgetting that.
gotta be
That's
premature.
true. They're
too.
the premature part is what makes it work.
Yeah, they're premature,
time thing.
and then they're also prevented from
all- it's
aging
all
with
about
the
the fucking
liquid
time.
that they're forced into in their little pods.
Yeah.
Liquid time fall.
So they help you sense the BTs, which are beached things, and the beach is symbolic of like the place in between life and death,
Yeah,
because
it's
that's what a beach
It's the
is.
purgatory,
Place in between
and that's why it's called a
time
beach,
and
by the way,
land.
because a beach is a place between the sea and the regular Earth.
Yeah, the life and death. Yeah,
that's the between area.
Yeah.
That's why it's a beach. It's fucking
Because you got time, which is water, which is the water.
water
But water's
is
the
super
essential to
important.
life.
Although the
Time is
BTs,
essential to life.
the beach things, when they come out, they're like
It is
covered
what
in
gives
tar,
life to almost everything.
which isn't really explained either.
What?
Like the beach things, when they come out, they're covered in tar, and tar is like, it's not like oil or anything. It's straight up tar. And the only explanation the game gives you is that along with the time fall, like tar pits became a huge thing. And I'm like, okay.
I think the tar is just it's like a rip in space time almost, where like
I think
Or-
Was
I'm
an
pretty
explosion.
sure that the use of tar was only because like the dinosaurs were found in tar pits. A lot of them.
it connects
And the dinosaurs were an extinction event, which is what the game is about. So I'm pretty sure that's the only real reason that
Probably.
tar became a huge thing.
probably it's just the physical manifestation of the idea that these two existences are like combining weirdly
Yeah.
suddenly.
Maybe tar is their translucent lubrication from coming in and breaching our
Its
world.
tar is translucent.
Yeah. So
It's clear as mud.
So bridge babies, they allow us to see and sense BTs, and porters carry them with them, and it's a little pouch simulating the mother's womb.
The people with dooms can also like sense them, and if they're strong enough with
He's got
dooms,
the
then they can
dooms.
even see them. Because like Fragile,
Sounds like AIDS.
when you meet Fragile in the
He's got the
beginning, she
dooms.
asks you
It
about your
does.
dooms, and she
That's
says
a
that she
doomer.
can see them. And then he tells her that he can only sense them because he's
Yeah.
got level 2 dooms.
So
The higher level you
Stage
are,
2 dooms.
apparently,
That's right.
It causes you to be more suicidal.
Yeah, the dooms also has like some weird psychological effects.
So it's the idea is that by being
And
able
each
to
person-
see the other side makes you crazy, pretty much.
Yeah, well, that and like each person with dooms has like some weird connection.
Can you see the other
to
side
beach.
because you're crazy? Or
to the
singular
beach?
side
Yeah,
make
so
you
like,
crazy?
and they all get like different powers from the dooms.
I don't know, man.
For instance, Amelie and Fragile
Only
have the
Kojima
ability to like teleport, and they have to use up their blood in order to do that.
Amelie, huh?
And then yeah,
Amelie. Which
that's
you
the
know,
power that she explains to have.
yeah.
And then
for the first 40 hours,
and then
that's her
Higgs,
fucking name.
Higgs has the ability to teleport also, but he can also control the BTs.
Yeah, his dooms is so high he can control the things in between life and death. So he's like he's crazy.
And
He's a
then
Final
and then
Fantasy
Sam's
He really is. Yeah.
and
He's
then
like, world needs to die. Fuck this.
Snap.
We're bringing it in. Yeah.
and then Sam's power is that he can weaponize his blood.
yeah.
and then
his
he can-
fecal
And
matter.
his feces.
Why?
And
And
his
you can
feces,
piss. You can
and
piss
his
on
piss,
the dude. There's
and his shower water.
there's a creature that looks like an asshole monster, and I pissed on the asshole part, and it was amazing.
oh yeah, you mean the Tari starfish?
Yeah, I pissed on
The
it,
starfish lion.
and I turned it golden. I made it a golden starfish. With
You really
my
should
urine.
see a doctor about that.
Yeah, I should probably see a psychiatrist. Honestly, is what I should see.
Dooms is too high, man.
Can I piss on these starfish, please? There's a trophy for doing that too, for pissing.
For the first time, yeah.
Yeah.
I did it too on so like when the dead things are coming out of the ground and trying to grab you and pull you to their side. It's like people, and I whipped my dick out and I pissed on them, and they were like freaked out and went away.
This is how we get rid of the homeless problem.
Yeah, piss on me, I'll piss on you.
No
And they're
hobo
gone.
soup kitchen.
So
in
you're
this.
saying-
And you can piss for longer if you've held it for
and
longer.
So you're saying the most
I-
intelligent thing to do is just to fucking hook him up and farm his blood, and then that's what you arm everyone else with.
That's essentially what they
That's
do.
what
Yeah.
They do when you
And
show
it's
all-
because-
Every night, every time you rest in like your private room in the game, they take blood from you.
Yeah.
No.
And
what,
then
what
they
you should
and
do
they
is
make rounds
never
of
let
your
him
ammo
leave.
of your blood,
Yeah.
and then
Well,
never
in a way-
never let him
people.
leave. It's his
Mad
life
Max.
now is to
well,
provide
they
blood.
need him
Mad Max,
to
yeah.
connect to chiral networks.
And then that
But
way, if he's
essentially
not being physically
arrested.
active and stuff like that, then he doesn't need as much blood. So they can take more every day.
That's true, but the reason why they don't do that is because he's the only person that can repatriate, and basically he just comes back
Can
to
he?
life.
So how does this repatriation work? Does it whenever he dies he's
Yes.
repatriated, or
Yes.
if he dies by
He can't
timefall
die.
stuff? So what you're saying is they can essentially drain him of all of his blood every day,
And he'll repatriate.
and he'll repatriate.
Yeah,
and they can do it again. That's a lot of blood.
They can't do that though because it would cause a void out.
Yeah, that's true. If he dies and doesn't repatriate, it basically causes the death itself to just destroy a whole section.
dead
of
people.
society.
So what's causing
it's
his?
kinda like a
So
Big
he can
Bang.
just all of a sudden stop repatriating. Is what you're saying?
no, not to
No.
our knowledge. He every single time.
Then what's
He can't be
what's the risk of a
zone.
void out?
A void out is
Everybody
basically
else-
a huge explosion that.
Similar
So
to
why
a-
It's
can't
basically
they?
antimatter that like fucking takes
So
everything
why
in
would
the area.
harvesting all of his blood every day cause a void out?
well, dying
because he would die and then
I thought he can repatriate when he dies.
He does, but
he does,
everything
but it
else
still
doesn't.
takes time. And then like the
he would technically you could pull his blood because the only time that his death causes a void out is when it's the BTs. Because when you
yeah,
die
when
on
they-
the beach,
when they-
you
when
die
they-
forever. So
Yeah,
if they
when they
pull you
eat
to
him-
the beach and you die there, then you're dead.
yeah.
So, you're
So that's
saying-
why a
so
void
you're-
out happens when they eat you, is because you're dying both
So
here
them
and
pulling his blood will never cause a void out.
no, he'll never killing him that way will never cause a void out
Unless there's a BT in the thing,
Yeah.
and then they
Well,
eat
they
him
just
while
keep him
he's
away from the BT.
if
Like-
the BTs eat him.
I mean, if they have his
when-
blood, they
when-
can shoot the
What
BTs
we're
with it.
theorizing is irrelevant because what
forcibly take it over with all that fucking
because
blood
what
ammo.
Bridget needs you to do and Amali, whatever, on the beach need you to do something else, which they
Well, you
want
can
to
do that after you supplied thousands of blood
for
rounds.
when we get to the plot. It's she needs you to go do something else and convinces you because you're handcuffed. You're essentially all but forced to connect all these networks to each other. And there's a greater purpose when we get
Oh, so this is an example of how humanity binds and works together to recreate it, but you're forced to do it the whole time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no.
Yeah, he's
I don't
forced
think
to do
you're
it the whole time.
forced. I think you're impelled to do it. You're compelled to do it.
Is that what the handcuffs are for?
Well, no, the
Impelled?
handcuffs are. It's the chiral network connection. You're not handcuffed in. You're handcuffing
Yeah, but
yourself
it's connected to the network, and it's also connected to bridges.
It's basically
so
a
they
fucking-
know where you are all the
It's
time.
basically a fucking
Which is
Google
why-
Watch. That's all it is.
But that's why they, at the end, Deadman deliberately says, "Hey, cut yourself off from here," so that they don't know where you are.
Yeah, no, that's throwing
because he
away
didn't
your.
want to be a part of it in the first place, and
Yeah.
they force him to be. Part
No,
of
they
it.
don't force you to.
They attach the handcuffs to him without him wanting to. They give him that
That's
stuff,
what
and he
handcuffs are.
can't, and you can't take them off once they're on. That's the whole spiel of like how Deadman took it off at the end of the game, because you
I don't-
can't take it off on your own.
I don't remember that.
Because he didn't want to be a part of it, and then when she falls on him, she puts the handcuffs on him. She forces him to be part
Oh,
of
yeah,
it.
yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, that's like the whole thing. It's like he can't avoid it anymore. It's because like he's now a part of the UCA or whatever.
It's like it's symbolic of like your responsibility to help society. Is kind of what it is, and sometimes that's thrust upon you, and
By gunpoint.
yeah, by forcing it. So
Yeah.
It's a very
So-
symbol heavy game.
yeah, we got the Dooms. We got the he
fucking beat you with our
repatriates.
symbol.
And he comes back from the seam, is what they call it, which is between the world of the living and the beach. So it's another.
It's what happens when it's where he goes when he gets
discussing
repatriated.
this is really not making me ever want to play the fucking game.
Well, it's because it's confusing as fuck.
It's not just confusing. It's just there's a point to where you can make something that's slightly confusing until you get into it, and there's a point you make something that doesn't make fucking sense. Like you got so far up your own ass with what you wanted to do with symbolism and whatnot that you never fucking bridged the dots
Oh,
together.
dude, this
It
entire
does.
game is Kojima smelling his own farts.
It is, but most of what we've already talked about is just the beginning of the game and the lore surrounding it.
Yeah,
What the story actually does when we get around to it is it ties it all together for a good
All right,
purpose.
you know, let's just
So,
talk
what
about the
about
story now.
Yeah,
40
But we
hours
weren't
after
talking
gameplay.
about the story.
No, we weren't.
That's
Fuck
the,
off.
that's just the setting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck
the lore.
off.
So the story of the game, you start out Sam Porter Bridges.
Essentially, you're delivering something, and then you're asked to go see your the person who raised you, so your mom, who turns out to be the president of the United States.
Yeah, we elect a female president, and everything goes to shit.
And then when you go to see her, it turns
Just
out she
saying.
has cancer and that she's basically about to die. Her last request to you is that you help her connect the entire United States,
Which is either
to
the
chiral network.
electrical grid. It's like the electrical grid combined with the fucking internet is what you're connecting people
it's
to.
essentially
basically.
what it is. Yeah,
And it gives you the ability to fabricate equipment and like transfer.
yeah. You basically
communications.
you can use the chiral particles in the air to like create things,
And it also
essentially.
connects people to each other. So it's basically the internet.
It's the internet, and it's like a power source.
It's the internet, and it's a 3D printer of the most ultimate form.
yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
So you can transfer like 3D blueprints, and people can then fabricate equipment at
it's
other facilities.
AutoCAD level 99.
It's like the ultimate. Yeah, it's amazing. So you have to go around and convince people that they want to be part of this, even though it's a danger.
That sounds stupid to me. I mean, like once you have the plans, can you make copies of it over and over again? Or are they like
Yeah,
saying once
you
you only
can.
have one copy of it, that's it?
Once you have the
it's
plans.
it's the internet, so like once they have it, they can do whatever they want with it.
Yeah.
So essentially, like you basically go across the United States to find Amelie because
Yeah.
your mother dies, and you need her to become Amelie to become the next president, essentially.
Yeah. That's supposed to be the leader.
Which doesn't really make a whole lot of sense because Die Hardman is the vice president, and technically, according to the laws, he should have taken over. But they work a little differently in the UCA, I guess.
Yeah, they suddenly become like a what they have like a monarchy again. Oddly.
Maybe, I don't know. So they have to try and get Amelie back.
But Amelie's a big force.
She's conveniently across the United States, because you start in like the East Coast and you have to go to the West Coast.
Yeah, it's also symbolic of what we were talking about on After Dark, the promontory point. You're going from the east. You're connecting the East Coast to the West Coast. So
Manifest
it's also
destiny.
It's also the fucking connection of the railroads in a way too. So it brings that in.
Yeah, and it's not even like every part of America. You're literally just trying to go across, connecting people along the way to the UCA so that they can use the chiral network so that everybody can be together.
And there's a good amount of like resentment to that and stuff, and people trying to resist it because they're afraid of it. And,
but they're
like,
not necessarily afraid of the network itself. They mostly just hate bridges and porters because they blame them for like the void outs that happened in certain cities.
Which is fair because it is their fault in a lot of ways.
Not really, because it was mostly Higgs's doing.
Yeah.
Because there's like terrorists that purposefully try to kill people to cause void outs. So along the way you have to you go do that. Essentially, your whole main mission is to go find Amelie. At some point, you finally do that after confronting Higgs a couple times and learning about the other people who are part of bridges, like Deadman and Mama and Hartman. But their parts are kind of irrelevant to the whole plot.
Do we want to get going in on Mama?
I mean, we can in a bit. But, you finally get to the end, and you finally get to where Amelie is supposed to be, which is where you finally confront Higgs.
And Higgs is basically trying to end the world.
Yeah, he's trying to, like, the extinction event is going to happen anyway, and his whole goal is to make it happen faster.
Yeah, so the idea is that this is like the end of mankind, right? It's the symbolic, because eventually everything dies is the idea. And it basically brings up all the other massive extinctions that the Earth has seen, and it says that this is...
Because there's supposed to have been, like, 5 other ones.
Yeah, 5 other massive extinctions.
And this is the 6th extinction.
And it's basically extincting man and the whole world. And Higgs, the bad guy...
It's supposed to also be the final extinction.
He's trying to make it the final extinction. He's trying to make it...
Well, no, it is the final extinction. That's the one they say. It's like the 6 is the last one.
Oh, okay. So it's going to be the end of all things, period. And Higgs is really trying to bring that out. And, you find there's a bunch of other random characters in there. There's fucking Mama, who has... Her name is Malingan, which sounds like an awesome sex act, right? And then her sister Lochna.
God, Malingan.
Yeah, I got that Malingan last night. And they're actually
from the back so much.
They're actually their purpose. They're twin sisters, and one of them dies. Mama dies, but she's still alive within Malingan, and it's the whole idea of like it's introducing the idea that there's 2 aspects of a person. There's the body and the soul, almost.
Yeah, and they use the Japanese words for it, which kind of like
and the ka. Ka is
I was really bothered by that.
I don't know. It's they're the ones that came up with this idea, though. So I think it makes sense to use their.
Yes, but they could have just said, because she just every time they say that though, they're like, oh well, we mean this like right after, because she's like, oh, it's like the ha, which is the body, and then the ka, which is the soul or whatever.
Yeah.
Like.
It's a really interesting idea, and then you find
no
so that's the introduction to that these are the same person. One of them was the spirit, like the soul of the person, and then
essentially they explain that Malingan and Lochna were the same person that were separated when they were like in the womb. They became 2 children instead of just 1. So like when one of them dies, they combine again.
Yeah, it's weird. Lochna is way hotter, even though it's the same person. The way she does her hair is better.
Yeah,
the short hair and no glasses.
Yeah. And Mama has like a baby. Her baby died and is now a Death Stranding, or is on the
BT.
beach. It's a BT, and so you can see like.
But it's connected to her because she died while she was giving birth.
Yeah.
So essentially, what happens is Mama is only alive because that's her nickname. Because she has the dead baby. That's why she's called Mama. And then the umbilical
explain
cord.
why should they
The
call it
umbilical
mom.
cord is still attached to her because the baby died inside of her.
You see it,
Well,
like come out the bottom of her.
The
no.
umbilical cord? No, it's like coming out of.
It's like a
Is it
ghost.
an actual
It's like
umbilical cord?
yeah.
or
It's a ghostly
theoretical
umbilical cord.
That's what
So it's
the
not a real umbilical cord.
BTs.
I mean,
look
there
like, too.
is a real umbilical
It's
cord. I
like-
think I can't remember.
they're trying so hard
Fucking
to
weird.
make this game feel symbolic and
Oh yeah, they totally do.
and have more meaning than it really does. They're
But
just
anyway,
really
so
fucking digging for some of these.
story focus. So you
because
fight Higgs.
And the
And-
ultimate
and Amelie-
masculine, the ultimate testosterone fight to end all testosterone. You're just in
You're
like
fighting a
Is it
giant
direct?
fucking beach thing.
No,
which
I'm
is
talking
attached
after.
to both Higgs and Amelie.
yeah, and once you fight that, then it's you and Higgs like in a fucking boxing match, like with
Oh well, yeah.
mud up to
Then-
your waist.
Then you
it's
go.
like this is fucking sweet.
then
like
you
in
go
the sun
back
setting,
to the beginning to
it's like
have Fragile send you to the beach, which then like you start to confront Higgs. So then there's like a mini boss fight where he starts trying to shoot you, and then he's like, "Fuck it, I don't need a gun." And then they start fist fighting,
and it's like the fucking sunset on Tatooine
and
in the
then-
background. It's like
This-
fuck, this is sweet.
and then they get pushed into the beach on the beach, or like into the water on the beach, and then it turns into like a fighting game where like you start.
it's fucking
so
sweet.
the-
yeah.
pummeling each other.
It's a
What
beach within
it
a
is-
beach.
is a whole homage to what Hideo did in MGS4.
Did you guys find the PlayStation?
Yes, and delivered it.
No,
No.
like there's so on the beach. There's a really funny thing, like while you were fighting Higgs, like after he just like gets rid of the gun, right, where you're still trying to fist fight him. So there's a part where I found like a PlayStation just
Oh,
like
yeah.
chilling
You-
on the
you
beach,
used it.
and so I grabbed it and I beat him with it, and that was the last hit that I needed before it turned into the fighting game.
Oh, nice. The PlayStation.
So the PlayStation
so-
ended it, and I was like, yeah!
I don't really want to spoil 4 for you yet, Schweiss, since you haven't played it. But there's this huge fight of similar nature
Yeah.
that happens in MGS4 to close it out. And so I think that's kind of like Hideo homaging to it again with another one of those epic fights.
yeah. So you find out that Amelie.
Here you see Hideo referencing his
Yeah.
early work.
And
He
so,
does, they reference everything.
oh yeah, and
There's
so-
there's an email where Guillermo del Toro talks about The Shape of Water.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Like, I just-
Oh, dude, yeah. If you meet
And
Conan
the
O'Brien, he
codec-
sends you like emails, and one of them talks about how he was a talk show host.
Yeah, Conan O'Brien's in the
Like
game
it
too.
references literally everything.
I don't
Yeah.
want just that. It just feels like this is an altar built to Hideo by Hideo.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's pretty fucking good though. I mean, it's on the
So,
nose,
we'll-
but the
we'll
story.
Talk about it.
The chiral network is the whole connection thing, so they connect to each other via codec. And that's a Metal Gear Solid trope.
Yeah. So here's the thing. You fight Higgs. So Higgs is basically he made Fragile walk through the rain, and so her body is like an old leathery ass. So she's the opposite of an Oblivion character. Her body is old as fuck, but her face is smoking. She's like the anti Skyrim body model because her ass is like, well, she's pretty attractive, I guess. I don't know. She's not the best looking person ever, but her body's all
Lower
old because
tier Bond girl now at this point.
yeah. She was forced to walk through the rain with like in her panties, basically, by Higgs, so that she would age. But she had to throw a bomb away because he was going to blow a city up, and he was like, "Well, you either have to choose yourself or the city." And so, what are you going to do? And then that created the animosity between those two because Higgs is just a crazy, chaotic person trying to bring around the final extinction by causing all this death and destruction, and basically making it so that man has to fail. Because the idea is that it's an extinction event, but extinction is not necessarily pure extinction. Like the dinosaurs, a lot of them evolved, right? And so the idea is that we need to evolve as people to survive in this new world. And so Higgs is against that. Higgs is saying, like, we need to just die. Our time is over. He's basically a modern environmentalist who thinks that humans do more damage than good, and that the world would be better off without us. That's basically what Higgs is. He's one of those cunts.
He's a Greta Thunberg
No,
supporter.
basically he's a psychopath whose whole
They're
logic...
psychopaths. The idea of like man shouldn't be is pretty psychopathic.
His whole logic is like the death is going to happen anyway, whether it's in a a few thousand years or a little more, so why not just make it happen now?
Yeah.
Because it's going to happen anyway. Why not just make
rip
it
the
happen?
Band-Aid off now. It's odd. It has a lot of similarities to our After Dark that we just did. Like it's either do it now or do it later. Symbolically,
It's supposed to happen eventually.
yeah, and it doesn't necessarily have to happen. That's the idea that the good guys bring about. Is like, well, you can change and survive.
So
Speaking to the whole homage thing of another thing that he does is Hideo with the uncomfortable close-ups. At least this time, it's not Snake's ass and it's Fragile.
Oh yeah, it's
ass.
Norman Reedus' ass
Yes,
with that
but
BT that slapped the shit out of it.
He
You ever
just
notice
does
that?
these camera angles that are just focused on the booty.
He's in the shower and like you see his ass a little, and there's like a BT
you see his
handprint, like
ass
heavy,
all
like
the
that
time.
BT slapped that fucking ass hard.
Yeah.
It's just like a perma BT, like permanent ass slap as he was
Think about-
tapping him, bringing him under.
just the ass.
all right, bringing it back to the story.
Yeah, sadly that's not canonically part of the story, which it totally should be.
Anyway, bringing back to the story. So after the fist fight with Higgs, you're stuck on the beach with Amelie. She kind of explains to you that she's the extinction creature, the thing that triggered the final extinction. And when she was like 20 years old, she had cancer.
Whoa,
and
we're skipping ahead.
That's right after
we
the
gotta-
fight with
we
Higgs.
yeah, this is like
It's-
right after that.
Maybe
They
the
explain
cancer part, that's
everything.
about that.
But I'm starting with that because we have to explain everything quickly because we're running out of time. Anyway, so she had cancer when she was like 20 years old. And that like when that happened, her soul died and like was sent to the beach, but she was still alive.
The Haas separated from the car.
Yeah, so
One on the beach, one in.
the one on the beach became Amelie. Well, she stayed alive as Bridget, so they're the same person.
And Bridget and Amelie on the beach found you because you died. You find this out later, and she was the reason why you repatriated, is because she found you on the beach and she brought you back.
She's the cause of everyone having dooms. She's like the source of all the powers and everything because she's essentially the power source for the extinction.
The Arbiter.
Yeah.
Because she's the one that's supposed to bring it forth, and so everybody is forced to basically subject themselves to what she sees, and that's what the dooms are. You
Yeah,
see the extinction happening.
And so basically she starts explaining everything to you about how like she started the research on the BBs and everything because she knew that the extinction was going to happen anyway. And so her whole thing was essentially the same thing as Higgs because she like convinced him to join her. To like she didn't want to wait the 100,000 years it was going to take on the beach, so she wanted to make it happen now instead of later because she didn't want to wait. And her whole logic thing is like, well, who would blame me? And then
got so tired
which is
of
fucking
waiting.
stupid because she didn't wait for any amount of time.
She can't fill time.
Yeah, she can't feel time at all, so there's like
Yeah.
literally no point.
So that's why people don't trust Bridges, is because Bridges has actually caused a lot of these problems.
Yeah, Bridget has forcibly made these things happen. She killed like a shitload of people to hide the fact that Amelie isn't a real person. She also explains that you were once, you find it out in various cutscenes that you were once the BB that this other guy, Clifford Unger, that you've encountered multiple times, has been looking for. You were his son, and
you were the first BB, I think, or one of the first.
You were one of the first BB experiments.
And this guy, you fight him randomly throughout the story. Like he's searching for BB, and you
like
think
every 3 chapters,
you think
fight
he's
him.
after yours because you keep getting these cutscenes of with the BB where it zooms in on the BB's face, and it's like super close, and the BB's doing like little baby shit.
Yeah, every time you connect to the BB after you like go to your private room, you see little flashbacks,
and you think it's the BB, but it's so
you think
obvious.
it's the BB's memories.
It's so obvious
but it
that
turns
it's
out
not.
that it's your own
because
memories.
it's the BB like freaking out, and then it shows the BB's eyes, and it's the BB seeing you, and it's so clear that that's what it is. But you suspect it's the other BB, and you think that Clifford Unger, Mads Mikkelsen, is after your BB, but he's after you.
He is actually after your BB because he thinks that it's your BB, but he figures it out by the end of the game that it was actually you.
Yeah. And this is where the story actually gets really, really good. It's actually a really fucking good story. It's like in your face with the symbolism and like all that, but it's actually way deep. Surprisingly, considering how much they just throw at you at face value.
Yeah, so she basically explains everything to you, that she caused the extinction, but she now kind of doesn't want to because she doesn't want you to die and like all this other stuff.
Yeah.
She feels kind of remorseful for it. So she tells you to like stop it or like make it happen way later by killing her now. So there's like another extinction person later. So she gives you the revolver that Dead Men or Die Hard Men had left there on the beach before. And then
the revolver connects because...
But then it kind of takes away that choice from you. So you're supposed to go up to her and hug her instead and like accept it. And so essentially she causes the final Death Stranding to happen, but because you like know about it, it like hardly anybody's affected because they move everyone somehow. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense how they avoided it, because it happens, but like everybody's still alive.
Well, he convinces her to not do it.
No, it happens. Like she says, there's no way to stop it anymore. So it literally does happen at the end of the game. The final Death Stranding happens, but like the effects aren't really felt, I guess, because everybody's still alive. And then they pull you away from the beach by finding the blood that was in the bullets. Of the revolver,
the gun, which is your father's.
Yeah, the gun, which is your dad's.
Which
was also Die Hardman's.
So the only way I'm reading it here, and it says that the only way for her to avert the last stranding and delay humanity's extinction is to permanently separate herself and her beach from the world of the living in. So
yeah, so she forces it to happen early, is what she does.
No, that's to avert it, is what it's saying.
No, it doesn't avert it. It makes it happen. She says that she makes it happen.
I don't think... Well, it does, but it doesn't. Like, because no one goes extinct. We don't go extinct, so it doesn't actually happen. It's just the possibility of extinction's always there.
No,
That's the idea that it's playing with, is that the possibility of total annihilation is always...
No, she says that she makes it happen so that like people can go on, is essentially what the thing is.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure
I think that's
the whole
reference
plot.
to the people that are stuck on the beach.
I don't get the extinction part of the plot. I was confused by it. But no one...
Because it is cutting them off from her beach so that the BTs can't pass through anymore. I don't think it causes the full extinction event.
Well, see, none of that makes any sense.
It has a happy ending, so...
None of that makes any sense because, like, that couldn't possibly clean up all the chiral stuff out of the atmosphere, which it totally does at the end of the game. Unless... I don't know. It's dumb.
Well, it's tough because we don't get to play after everything happens.
This game just sounds like it has like a whole bunch of unique ideas.
Oh, it certainly does.
That could hint at wonderful gameplay, but it's just they're all just thrown together without really anything. No strands connecting it. The game just sounds too convoluted.
It is extremely convoluted.
Sitting from the outside and seeing how you guys disagree about what certain things mean after playing the same fucking game. It's not like there's two separate endings that you guys got.
I mean, it's a game that relies highly on...
Just because it's a unique game doesn't make it a good
It relies
story,
highly on symbolism. So, like, it is going to have... You're going to have different...
interpretations.
Yeah, you're going to have different
what
interpretations.
Exactly happened at the end. The game's fault is in its gameplay.
So you find out that the guy you've been fighting is actually your father, and you were the
Clifford
first.
Ungert is your dad the whole time.
Beautiful cutscenes. Like, it's actually really good. The very end is like really fucking good in this game.
Oh, I reached an uncanny valley point, like near the
with
end.
Die Hardman. Yeah.
Yes, with Die Hardman. He literally.
Oh yeah, when he
takes off
starts crying and like confessing that he killed your dad. Yeah, that was.
I thought it actually
before you actually knew that he was your father.
To like a real movie with the director, with the camera on.
It looks really good. Yeah.
I'm like, wow, this.
But you find out that your dad died trying to save you because the whole idea was.
Yeah, they basically Bridget lied to him about what they were going to do with you as a child because you were born premature. He didn't know that you were going to be like some experiment. He thought that they were trying to save you.
Yeah.
And
that didn't sit well with him.
And then Die Hardman found out that it was him, and he was like, "Oh, I can't live with my captain being like involved in this." So he gives him a gun and says, like, hey, you know, take the kid and get out of here. I'll try to give you some time to do it.
Yeah.
And he gets caught, and Bridget gives Die Hardman the order to kill him, and he does it, and it kind of destroys him inside. And then she accidentally kills you as a baby, which then she like regrets immediately, and so Amelie, when she finds you on the beach, revives you and sends you back.
Yeah, and then Bridget raises you in the real world,
which creates dooms and also opens a bridge to the BTs to come over to the real world.
Yeah, so that's
the start of the Death Stranding.
So she caused it by having, well, no, the BTs were already.
Yeah, she was already causing the BTs to happen.
Yeah,
because she wanted to have the extinction happen early.
She just
but by the time
caused
that
a
you started
floodgate.
becoming an adult, she was like, "Well, maybe I shouldn't do that."
yeah, it was already in place. The BTs and things were already happening. That's why they
she
investigated.
forced them to start happening
okay,
because
no.
it wasn't supposed to happen until like
the BTs weren't happening.
Later.
The beaches were happening though. Like people were seeing the beach is what it was. Because the beaches were what they were using the BBs to investigate. Like, what the fuck is this beach? And then the BTs started coming through. I'm pretty sure is what it was.
Yeah.
After she fucked everything up with you as a baby, so you died, and your father like was trying to save you and get you out of there. And he's this guy you've been fighting with the whole time. And then there's a cutscene in the last fight where he looks at you and then he starts talking to you as if you're the BB.
Yeah, like the Dooms allows him to talk to you specifically,
and then he breaks the fourth wall in like it's weird because like you see it's all a vision. You see the past in a vision to what you think is the BB, but it's actually you.
Yeah,
right?
you're like repatriating kind of at the same time as like seeing your own memories and
you can go back and see that
weird moment.
And you're right before your dad dies. He basically explains that to you, and then he gets shot and bleeds out, and then you get shot, and then that's when you get first repatriated. So
yeah, and he also tells you that your mother's last name was Bridges, so he's literally, it wasn't a name that he took on, it's literally his name.
Yeah,
Lisa Bridges.
Yeah, so
you were the bridge to my world, Sam.
Yeah, you were my bridge to the future is what he says.
Yeah. It's actually really good. I think it's actually a really good story. It's like fucking good. Considering how
when it gets to the story.
Yeah, considering how overly like in your face the meanings are for some of these other characters, like the actual meat and potatoes of it is very hidden.
Yeah, because they only serve one character purpose to move the plot forward really quickly with a small character arc. Oh, wow, Hartman, he had a character arc? Not really, but it serves a purpose to the story, which is the meat and potatoes, like you were saying.
He's just investigating what the beaches
and that part
are
is great.
And trying to find his beach. And it's weird, the Japanese are obsessed with the beach thing, I've realized. Like, and then the whales, I think they feel guilty about killing all the whales. That's what this game is about. They feel guilty about like pushing them to extinction. But like in Final Fantasy 13 too, there's a lot of this too, where like the dead are walking towards the beach, and like it's just the idea that I didn't realize was so prevalent in like literature. But it makes sense because that is kind of the space in between life and potential death. And when something strands up on the beach, it dies, right? But there's so much life there with the death, and it's like it ties into like actual life and like blah blah blah. But that's why they use the beach. But I think the story is actually fucking really good in this game. I think it's the best story of the year, easily. Like the other stories are, like Sekiro is a good story, but it's not like an emotional story. And this is it's pretty beautiful, man. It's fucking great. I think this is a fucking fantastic
within
story.
The fuckiness of
Please
the world.
Tell them that they're wrong, Craig.
They're not. Unfortunately. The actual story that happens within this fucked up piece of shit, not explained world is actually very, very good. The characters are all really good. It's just the way the story is poorly served by the gameplay. This would be a much better movie than it is a game, because the story is kind of, until you get to the last like 5 chapters of the game, it's absolute shit.
I don't know if it's shit.
No, it's shit. It's absolute shit the entire fucking time. There is literally a mission. I've talked to Jake about this, and I've ranted about it all the time. Fucking the chiral artist part is completely irrelevant and takes up 2 hours of your actual fucking time for literally nothing. All right, Cam, let me explain this to you. There is a person that you find called the junk dealer, and he doesn't want to join the chiral network, which is your whole fucking thing. Like, you have to go and connect everybody to these things.
Right.
And he doesn't want to join it because he hates you and he hates Fragile and he knows you're connected to it.
All right, just leave him alone.
And so,
story over.
But they won't let you leave him alone, so you have to forcibly have him join you by making him like you. And they're like, okay, we'll just do missions for him until we find out where his girlfriend is, because he thinks that his girlfriend died in a void app. But they're like, no, that doesn't sound right. Let's look this up. Which I don't understand how they thought that she was alive based on the information he gave, which is fucking stupid. And then they find out that she's actually alive and only like 10 miles away from him. So you have to go trek.
Why is that important to them?
I don't know.
Just to connect the network.
So he tells you that, you tell him that she's still alive, and he's like, what? No way. And then he's like, okay, I need you to deliver this thing over to her.
So he thought she was dead. Literally, he thought she was gone.
He thought that she was gone, and he blamed you guys for it. And so you go over to where she is, and you're like, hey, this guy is still alive, because she thought he was dead.
Okay.
And her mom told her that he was dead, which I don't know how she would just take that at face value. But anyway,
she's
so
Japanese.
Why is
but her mom?
It's the mother. It's the mother Shinobi code. The mother's word is absolute.
Whatever.
So she.
Anyway,
her.
so you convince her that he's still alive, and they're like, "Oh my god, we need to see each other again." So you have to put her on your back for some reason, even though she's a live person and is fully capable of walking. You have to carry her on your back. I don't fucking know.
Keep her out of the time.
And then that's not.
It's a delivery service. You're not a fucking bodyguard.
You put her in a body bag and then strap her to your back, which is complete bullshit. Anyway, you have to carry her all the way over there, and then you're like, okay, well, have a happy ending, and they're like, okay, well, cool, and then that whole section of events takes like fucking 2 hours of your life. Because of the missions that you have to do and the walking and everything. Yep. And then literally you get like an email, which you don't have to read, but if you do, you find out that they get fucking divorced.
No, they
get married in like a minute after like seeing each other again. And then literally an hour later, in-game, they fucking get divorced.
No. Here's what happened. They got engaged and they didn't get married.
No, they did get married. There's an email that says they connected with the network that you gave them to a priest, and he was able to marry them. And literally, they get divorced right after that. And then the chiral artist person tells you that she fucking like figured out the weather patterns. And was able to walk back to her mother's place by herself. So why the fuck did you have to bring her over to the guy in the first place? It is a complete waste of time, and this game would be 1,000 times better if it were only like 15 hours long instead of the 40 that I fucking wasted on missions that are exactly fucking like this. None of the missions have any relevance to the plot in any fucking way. They're all like stuff like, oh, bring this sperm to 1,000 miles away because I need to knock some bitches up, and then
we will walk 500 miles in 500 miles.
Dude, it is nonsensical. None of these missions have any relevance at all to what you're doing outside of connecting these people to the network. None of them.
Agreed.
None of them.
The game itself is nonsensical.
Well, yeah, it is, but like every other mission is ridiculous.
Playing this game is a waste of time.
Like, you go
it
for
wouldn't
the
be
chiral
bad
artist.
if these things were side missions, but these are literally plot-driven missions.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Don't you go, like, you do the chiral artist.
They get back together.
Is the
just so
hour...
You know.
Another email?
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Anyway.
They said the wedding's back on, is what
God.
the girl said in one of the emails. So it wasn't all for nothing.
That would require other
the
missions
email
because they
in
didn't
broken English.
You have to do a side mission for that to happen. Because I didn't do that, and they're still divorced.
Yeah, I did some side stuff.
Which means...
So you go from that.
Literally, it's pointless.
Yeah. to Mama, right? Mama's right, not too far off of that.
Mama
And
is
Mama,
literally
you
the
have to
mission
fuck-
afterwards
Yes.
because you have to fight Unger, and then it's Mama.
And then you carry her ass for a fucking hour.
Yeah, and then you have to carry her.
Dead.
You have to go to this other place, which takes you for fucking ever to do because you can't cross over the mountains. And then you have to fucking like go all the way back, and then you have to carry her on your back to that place. So it takes you another 3 hours of just fucking walking
I
because
drove.
the vehicles in this game are absolute ass. And of course, all the mules are like, "Oh well, he's carrying a woman. We've never seen one of those before." So they got to chase after you.
Troglodytes.
We can microwave that dead body up and heat her up and use that shit to our
Doesn't
heart's
matter
content.
to us that she's dying.
Yeah.
We're gonna use that for oil.
Dude,
Yeah.
And then you end up on the mountaintops.
I drove.
Which is slow
I
as
drove the
shit.
whole way, and it
And
was
then
not
you
that
figure
bad.
out, oh look, you got to fix BB for no apparent reason.
Yeah, and you got to fix BB, which is like a
So-
somewhat loosely explained thing where he's like, "Oh, well, he's becoming a more like an actual child instead of being this
Yeah.
tool fetus."
Craig, if you give this game's story a near perfect score after you're only so passionate about game stories so often, but if you give this game a near a close score, it's
What the
just because
story-
you are pleasuring yourself to Hideo Kojima stuff.
No. See,
no.
I can't give it a perfect score. I can't because that stuff is part of the plot. That stuff
Yeah,
is like
the
part of the
game
game,
is kind of-
and the only thing that is actually the story that actually is really good, and it would be a 10 out of 10, would be the last 5 chapters.
Oh, and then also...
But none of that fucking matters because of the shit that happens before.
Also with BB, the BB dies near the end, and...
Yeah, the entire last chapter is, I'm pretty sure, why everybody sucks Kojima off for this game.
It's really good.
It is a really good chapter.
And this is the nonsense of
You
game
build
with
you build an
terrible gameplay.
affinity for the BB, obviously, because he's a BB. He's cute. He does weird shit. But like when
Also,
the BB,
it's also
when
a girl, which
Yeah,
I'm like, how did you
which you
not
find
notice
out-
the vag in the jar?
that doesn't make sense.
He's like, I just never looked until I birthed. But the baby dies, and you take it to the incinerator, and you start burning it, and then you have the flashback
but
of
yeah,
like...
Dead Man says basically like you could try taking it out of the pod and maybe something would happen.
And that's what happened to you, because you got shot and died. And
But the
you
baby
came back alive.
it didn't live. So you find out that Amelie made it live again
Because she felt bad.
because she felt bad. So the
How
BB
can
was
she
still
make
alive.
it live again?
The same way she did.
Because
Sam.
it's
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
in
she
between
can-
life and death is the
yeah.
idea. That's
So
what it is.
Amelie
The-
is basically a deity or a god who controls life and
Essentially,
death.
yeah.
Kinda, yeah. She's the extinction event. She's a godlike.
So
entity.
what? Who is Amelie?
Amelie was a person. She was a person, but she was like born with the power of extinction. So she
Yeah.
like was essentially supposed to wait on the beach when she died for like 100,000 years or whatever for like the extinction to actually happen. But instead of wanting to wait, she basically started it
So
super
she
early.
is the villain.
So she is the villain,
yeah.
Oh yeah.
And she's the person who started controlling Higgs, who is like the person you thought was the villain the whole time.
And
Yeah,
Cliff,
so-
you thought was the villain too.
Yeah,
He's
you thought
actually the
Cliff-
good guy.
You thought Cliff was like
He's-
also controlling.
He's actually
Higgs, or
the
part of
only.
Higgs,
He's
but-
one of the only 2 good guys in the entire world.
He's like the other good guy.
Him and the guy
you
who
and
killed him.
Yeah, you and him are like the only 2 good guys.
The
essentially.
assumption is throughout the first part of the game until you reach Amelie in the beach that you're just trying to protect her from Higgs. But that's part of the plot twist. Is you figure out Higgs isn't nearly that bad, and it's Amelie causing the whole fucking shit to go into.
and she's not actually real either. She doesn't actually
She
exist.
only
Well,
showed
she
up in the
does,
dreams
but
because
she's,
they had dooms.
on the she's on the beach because she's the soul of Bridget.
Yeah.
Which Bridget showing up on the beach made no fucking sense to me because Bridget is only the body, not the soul.
Yeah.
So that was weird.
But I
pretty
loved it
much.
because the baby, you take the baby out of the pod, and the baby survives eventually. The baby like doesn't die.
Amelie returns
comes
it to
back
life. So, and then basically you like walk back out and you find out that the rain is just regular rain now
Yeah, so it's all over.
because the extinction event was supposedly, at least to my understanding, the extinction event happened. Amelie forced it to happen, but like averted most of the damage.
And also,
I
there's
admit, like when I saw the trailer for it, like I was intrigued by what it is. I knew he was
Yeah,
an
we had
excellent
that episode.
developer. Blah
you
blah
know what?
blah.
Watch the cutscenes, Game.
But
That's all you
listening
need to
to
do.
you guys describe this game, and from what I've seen of the gameplay so far, this looks like a fucking terrible game.
Yeah, there are parts that annoy me. Like there's a whole red herring thing
And,
with
like, it
their
just
Die
sounds
Hardman,
like-
where they make
it
Die
just
Hardman
sounds
seem
like-
to be like he's a bad guy, but it turns out he's actually a good guy. But the whole time they're like, "Oh, well, we should tell Die Hardman because we're not sure if we can trust him."
This sounds like it's this piece to. It's a love letter to Hideo Kojima by Hideo Kojima, is what it sounds like.
In a way.
In some aspects,
He's
but I don't
like
think
he's
it's
like
nearly
celebrating that he was too good, and he could
If
leave
anything,
his,
he's celebrating that he's on a
he
shitload
could
of
leave
drugs.
he could leave his previous sugar daddy giving him money to develop games and still be super deep. He just needs to get into doing movies.
Well, he did say he's going to do that.
Yeah,
So
like it just I don't know. This game just
I get
sounds
what
like they made it too complicated in the pursuit of.
it
trying to
wasn't
make
that
it deep.
complicated though.
not.
He's tried to make a super deep game, and it looks like that's what he was trying to do. He didn't like it. Didn't like
It looks like it, but it actually works at the same time. Like
It works on a story front. He just decided to have gameplay.
the
take a
world,
back seat.
the world building and gameplay are like really shitty, but the story itself, like what actually
I don't
happens,
know.
like the plot,
it just sounds like he's
is really
forcing
good.
all of these connections and these bridges,
dude, that does
doesn't
happen,
sound-
and I hate that.
And
I hate that
he's forcing
like,
these
But it does
symbols, and
make
he's
sense.
forcing everything
does make
to
sense.
be deep, and I just don't like it.
Yeah, I can see that, and I was mad at it for a while.
The
too,
game
but-
definitely isn't for everyone, and I cannot consciously.
And I hate that
recommend it.
argument. Oh, if you don't like it, it just wasn't for you. That's such a bullshit fucking
it's-
argument.
It is a bullshit argument.
There's a certain
And
type
I
of
can't
gamer.
recommend
I'm
the
not
game
trying
to
to
anyone.
make the game be something that I want it to be. I'm just saying, like, I enjoy different kinds of games. I enjoy different types of experiences. Like,
is a
on the
unique
front of it,
experience, I'll
Persona
give it that.
5 probably is not a game I would have picked up, but did I enjoy playing it in the long run? Yeah. It was a fun game. Like, it's outside of my normal experience.
Yeah.
I was excited to see what kind of game this was going to be, but to me, this just sounds. It just doesn't sound like a fun game.
All right,
It sounds like a slog of a game where you have to slog through the story and through the gameplay.
all right, you
Slug
guys
through
get
the
the
gameplay
story.
to get to the story.
God damn it! And that can't
That's
make
how
it
it
a good
is, yeah.
game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's how it is. The
I
gameplay
can
is
see how it
frustrating.
would not. Yeah,
All right, what do you guys give story?
can
Greg.
we do 0.5s in this situation?
We deal in absolutes.
The gameplay ill serves the story, and because of that, and because a lot of the plot-driven or story missions are useless and pointless and unnecessary, except for like being exposition for some of them, I have to give it like a 6.
For story?
Oh.
Yeah.
See, this is why we were having conversations before the episode. How much do we tie in story to gameplay to design?
It's like
So-
half and half for
Yeah.
everything. So
okay.
Ooh.
I can't in good
Greg.
conscience give it a perfect score.
Well, yeah, but that's far from a perfect score.
Oh, I know.
All right, what about you, Jake?
That is something. Okay.
9. I will take Craig's point
just 1 point off of
for
perfect.
what Craig's stuff is to knock at 1 point, but the story
He's going to
itself
probably dock it somewhere else.
is specifically one like
No,
Caleb said earlier
no,
is
Schweiss.
one of the best stories I've played.
It is an
aside from
amazing
God of
plot,
War
but-
and The Last of Us. But when I get to gameplay, you can agree or disagree with me. From a story standpoint, the thing is a 9.
I think it's a 10.
No, I knew you were
I
going
have
to
to
fucking say
include
that.
this story missions.
It's not.
And
You can't just take the okay. I didn't play this game, so I really have no say. But it really just
You're wrong.
sounds like you are taking the last little
Schweiss
bit.
is 100% being a contrarian.
No,
I know.
I think it's
mission.
I think it's an amazing story. I think it.
Were you
pacing-
invested
the
in the
plot-
story the whole
Yes.
way?
Yeah. I
No,
was.
you weren't.
No, I was.
No, you weren't, because the story missions, you don't fucking know anything until literally the
I
last
remember
5 missions.
you complaining
But the
about
drive
stuff.
is the
about
drive
the story
is there
stuff
to want you to
as
figure
you're
it
playing
out.
the game.
You're willing to suffer through each delivery.
And you're just going
wait
to
for the
ignore
little
that because like
Not
you
really.
finally
You don't
had it
get
come together
anything
in the
until
last
then.
few
Right,
minutes.
right.
Well, yeah, it
So
all
that's
tied
where
together,
sucks.
so it fixed
that's,
it.
That's where it does suck. Is that you are waiting for each bit of information to progress
I don't
forward.
think the
if
last
there was
bit
a
makes up
better
for it.
fucking balance, I agree. It needs way better balance.
I think this is there is some balancing
The
problems. I
pacing,
agree.
the pacing
The
is part
pacing
of the
is an
issue. But
story,
you think
and the
that
pacing
this
is
was-
absolute fucking trash, and it does not deserve a perfect score purely because of
It
that.
had perfect.
So
score.
you think that
But
this was
9
a
either.
10
Like, it
out of
doesn't-
10
Crazy.
it doesn't
experience
deserve
I
it.
think
story
this is the best.
that's had you more invested than
Stories
any
and
other
Last of
story
Us.
you've ever
I think this is
experienced.
the best story in a video game that's ever been put in a game. Yeah, I don't know if it's the best implementation of it, but I think it is the best, most emotional storyline that I've ever experienced in a game. And God of War was really close to that, but I think this game's story is better. It has more problems, but I think the emotional payoff at the end was more solid than any game I've ever played.
The emotional payoff is really good, but
And that's why I'm giving it a
but-
10. It does have pacing problems,
But
so
the
it's not
pacing is absolute ass.
It's
and
not
it
a-
cannot be forgiven.
it's not a perfect story, and it's not perfect in its pacing.
The story is a not for you.
But I
one of
blame
Strand.
the gameplay for a lot of that, for the pacing, because it makes you do a lot of extra stuff. But
and I
do
will
think
agree with Craig's sentiment. If you cut the game in half,
it
it'd be
would
a
be
lot
better.
better.
And I thought Craig was an idiot for like, oh, it'd be better as a movie, until I finished it, and I was like,
It's better
This
as a
would be a
movie.
really good movie. Actually, this would be a really good movie. Like,
You slept 3 hours
So if
in
you
a
say
movie
if it's
theater,
gonna
and then
be a
there you
great
go.
movie,
Yeah.
Then it has to be a great story.
I would say, yeah. That's why I like this. I think the story is
it's
really
better
good.
served as being a movie than a game, and the
Agreed.
pacing fucks it over. So, like, the gameplay screws over the story
So
in a lot of ways.
let's talk about the gameplay then, because this is going to be the one I think that we're going to dislike the most. Because
Okay,
this
so
game is frustrating.
The gameplay is extremely frustrating. Most of the game is entirely around the idea of delivering packages, which you have to, either carry in your hands, carry on your back. You can distribute the weight pretty much however you need to.
I've seen some ridiculous ways people have put
There's-
stuff on their back.
there's
There was
the-
that one
the
where
stacking.
it was stacked. It wasn't stacked vertically, but horizontally.
Oh
from
yeah,
his back.
it stacks both horizontally
Yeah.
and
How
vertically,
fucking
which-
ridiculous!
Which doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, no.
Until later when you get like a power skeleton, but even then, that really only is like attached to your legs.
There comes a point where you can't carry something like that with the weight distributed that way. Like, you're just going to be dragging it on the ground. You're not going to hold it up. Like,
Yeah.
I challenge you, this is something hard to do. Like, you can easily lift the weight of a chair, right? But when you try to only lift it up by one leg and hold it out horizontally, that becomes and hold it straight. You just
Yeah.
can't. It's so hard to do.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a balancing issue. Like
And then,
entertainment
that's
systems are
stupid.
not that heavy for like TVs and stereo systems. It's the bulkiness of it that's the issue.
yeah.
It's not just. It's just poor. That's just not how you distribute weight.
Oh yeah, and imagine like climbing up a
And
fucking
having
rope
a having
while
a
doing
whole
it too.
game
It's so
designed
unrealistic.
around weight distribution.
Like, not even Navy SEALs could do this.
How boring can gameplay be?
Well, I mean, it's not really weight distribution. You don't really do much of that. Most of it goes on your back, but you can attach things to like your shoulders
pads.
and like your legs. Except for if you have like the power skeleton, then you can't do that. But it allows you to carry even more weight, so you can carry more stuff on your back, which is like the main place where you put it. Anyway, so yeah, the whole idea is like carrying around stuff on your back, and you have to hold the triggers basically to stabilize yourself so that the weight doesn't like shift you one way or the other. So you have to like hold on to the straps of your backpack. Sorry,
If
we're
there's too
being
much
extremely
weight.
distracted right now.
if there's too much weight.
All right, so yeah, so most of the gameplay is about delivering stuff with your stuff on your back, and kind of holding on to the straps of your backpack to balance yourself so you don't like fuck up either way. But sometimes when you have a shitload of weight on your back, you can't stop yourself from moving, so you'll like trip and fall into like rivers and off mountains and shit,
Yeah.
which I know Schweiss loves the most.
Yeah. This game, it's like ameliorate suffering the game. It's like the whole game is about making the game less sufferable, which it's very sufferable in the beginning. So you get vehicles, then you get like roads that you build to drive on not rocks, which is everything in the world is just rocks. There's rock beds everywhere, and it's just shitty rocks that you can't drive on.
There's literally rocks everywhere and where it should be just open land. But instead, there's like huge, jagged boulders everywhere.
So you go from tripping over everything to getting stuck on everything on your motorcycle.
Yeah, so you basically can't drive a motorcycle anywhere except for on a road. And then you can't really drive a truck across a river because it basically gets stuck nearly every time because the water drains your energy really fast.
Yeah.
Because all these vehicles are like battery powered. They're like not running on,
Yeah, this is what happens when you make electricity the only model. I need some combustion engine in this bitch, and it's like these electrical trucks and like motorcycles are not cutting it. Like they're just not cutting it.
Yeah.
But
and it's a bit ridiculous. But yeah, like I never felt like I could drive a vehicle anywhere in this game because of how ridiculous the landscape always was. Because there's just boulders everywhere. It wasn't a smooth ride at all anywhere. And that's one of the things I kind of hate about the world building element of this game, is because like, it's 30, 40 years since this shit started happening, and they like implemented these porters to be, going everywhere, delivering all these towns and all these like bunkers and things. You'd think that they would build some kind of like roadway or pathways, for these people to use, but there's not. There's literally nothing. They have a very distinct road section they want you to like start rebuilding. Which basically is like, the old highways of like I-86 or whatever is the one that you start with, and shit like that. But
highway still there?
No, like you rebuild them.
the idea of highway still exists. What it is.
The idea is still there. Like essentially, there's like some places have a dirt path or like a place where there's not rocks, which you like go along, and then if you build the road on there, then they just like basically pave it so that you can go along even smoother. And like once you pave it, then your vehicles don't run out of power because like the road is powering them the whole time.
Solar freaking roadways?
Essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't really care for that part of the gameplay. There's like the combat element of the gameplay,
which is good, but you don't really. I don't know.
There's no consequences in this game. Nothing
Besides
is actually able to.
Damaged.
Not
or taken,
really,
but you can go get
your
it back.
stuff can be taken, yeah. But like the mules have like the spear guns or whatever that will like grab shit off of your back. But like, there's none of the enemies do anything to you really. They basically like once you get beat down by mules, all they really do is knock you out and take your stuff, which you can go back and get at any time. And then when you're because they're not going to kill you because that's a horrible idea because it'll cause a void out.
But they do shoot you later.
Those are the terrorists.
They're
dressed exactly like the mules, so there's like no visual distinction.
So like, why does killing? Okay.
Killing
void out.
When a person dies,
Yes.
essentially their body goes necro, which creates a BT. So their soul is basically still around, and once one of their souls, once their souls like drag somebody under and they eat them, it causes a void out. So essentially, like a dark matter explosion happens in that vicinity, and that's what's called a void out.
And it's huge. It looks like a big crater,
and they don't
but
know that you can repatriate, so they don't want to kill you because that would be a horrible idea to them.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, so they don't kill you, but there are terrorists later that will start shooting at you. But anyway, most of the enemies, like, there's no consequences. Even fighting the BTs when they pull you under to fight the big, like, beached things, like, none of them hit me at all. They never touched me. All I had to do was throw a few grenades, and it was over. Like, that's really all it was. It was kind of insanely easy. I didn't really care for that aspect either.
The gold BTs can actually cause you
There
to
are
get a
gold
game over.
BTs, yeah, but I only ran into them like once, and if they pull you under, which is almost impossible, then it just like ends the game, which is stupid because it doesn't make any sense and they don't explain it.
Well, it's the beach is the only place you can die, so those ones kill you on the beach. I think is the idea.
No, they're pulling you to the beach is like.
But
the
I
thing.
I think the boss ones, when they eat you, I think it kills you on both the beach and in real life. I don't know how.
No, when the boss ones eat you, it basically just causes a void out.
Right, but that can only happen when you're.
But it repatriates you, so you don't actually die, and nothing actually happens.
Well, no, because that's a game over.
It wasn't
a game
for me.
over.
I've had that happen where I got eaten by one of the lion things just to see what happened, and it didn't do anything. It just caused like a random void out, which didn't do anything because I was out in the middle of nowhere, and it just like
maybe it game overed me because I was in. So you had a huge hole. There was a huge crater.
I don't think so. I think it just was like, oh, you got repatriated.
Oh, really? Oh, I always get a game over when that happens.
Yeah.
As far as I know, like that's all I remember that happening.
Craig? Just kidding.
No, I was playing it on normal.
Yeah, same.
But yeah, like the BTs don't really do jack shit to you. Like even the super boss ones, like they throw like fucking Sin from Final Fantasy X at you, and you know you kill him without him fucking touching you at all. Like that was really annoying because that fight took like 10 minutes, and it didn't touch me. It didn't hit me in any way. All the damage that I did was to myself because it was draining my own blood shooting at this thing with the fucking like rockets and
I died
whatnot.
a couple times to him.
Really?
Yeah, because if he comes up from below you, he'll eat you and it'll cause.
I was up on one of the buildings and he never touched me.
Yeah, it'll game over you.
Well, if you climb on one of the buildings and
Yeah.
you won't get touched. Yeah, so like I literally had no consequences from fighting any of the enemies. I fucked them all up. I even went through and killed a fucking ton of the mules because I was getting annoyed at them trying to like attack me all the time.
So I fucking killing them.
Yeah, I killed an entire camp. And one time I had the event where like, it caused a void out.
Children.
Because like when you kill enemies in the game, it makes it so that there's like lingering BTs, and if the BTs that you created kills like one of the, I think maybe either players or those NPCs, I'm not exactly sure which, then it causes a void out and ends your game. So if another player dies by a BT you created and it ends your game, I think that's fucking stupid. Like incredibly fucking stupid.
But it never happens. You can't prove
But
it.
So
I don't. Yeah, I can't prove it. So
if Amelia,
It never happened to me.
if
I never killed anybody.
If Amelia
Yeah,
is,
I kill
is
people. So I'm guessing it's the NPCs, which I only met one time. So
if Amelia is a beach and Sam is Amelia's son, doesn't that make him son of a beach?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Exactly.
wasn't it Amalia in French? Amalie. What was
Amelie or whatever.
yeah, look that up because she deliberately makes a reference to that. Is it being?
Well, I'm pretty sure Sam's name is Sam because he's Uncle Sam.
No, but
Fuck off.
Amalie, just
He's
You're welcome for that.
he's a real messianic character in a lot of ways too. Like he's
course he
bringing
is.
he's bearing the burden of like the world basically by connecting
Yeah.
everybody, and then he
And
has
he's
to
the
die.
he's the only person that can.
He's
do
the
any of these
sacrifice.
things.
His life is basically sacrificed to rebuilding the country.
So
Because he's
Hideo made his own Christ story.
he did, yeah, he did. It's pretty good too. I think it's fucking great. But
it is.
gameplay's frustrating though. It's all about making it less and less frustrating.
Yeah, gameplay is entirely frustrating. It is about making it less frustrating, but it doesn't make it that much,
and
much
here's
less.
here's the worst thing that this game has ever done. This is the most inconceivable crime against humanity. After you build something, your character will walk. And I built a zipline on a cliff, and he walked off the cliff and landed really hard. And then I watched as all of the shit that I was trying to deliver by building the
Falls
zipline
off yourself.
rolled down the hill and like got more and more and more and more destroyed as it fucking barrel rolled down this hill. And I'm like, you can't have a game where balance is key and your character walks by himself. That's fucking bullshit.
Yeah, that's pretty bullshit.
Rolling.
One of the biggest crimes I also think is one of the story missions has you tells you that going to visit Fragile is an optional thing. It literally fucking says that.
Well, that's true, yeah.
And then It turns out visiting Fragile is not an optional thing. You do need to go see her. Otherwise, everything that you try to do will cause this bomb to explode on this one city.
Yeah.
Every single thing.
Yeah.
No matter what you try.
I tried it, dude. I like went to the city and it blew up, and I was like, oh, okay. And then I went to the city and then I like put the bomb down on the ground, and then I walked like 2 steps away and then it blew up again. And I was like, I have stuff I need to deliver to this city. Like, I want to give it to the city, but I can't. The bomb just goes off. Like, if you look away.
It was so fucking stupid, dude. I was like, what the hell am I supposed to do? Like, I had to look it up because I was like, what the fuck am I supposed to do at this point? And it's like, yeah, just go visit Fragile in your like private room in this specific place. And I was like, what the fuck? Why would I have to do that? It literally told me that was an optional thing because like Die Hardman's exact words were like, if you feel like it, go see Fragile and talk to her about this thing.
Yeah.
It is kind of him going wink, 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 wink.
I mean, it is like a wink, wink moment, but it's also telling you that's an optional thing that you do not have to do.
Yeah.
That is exactly what that is.
It's a red herring.
And
I don't think it's nearly as egregious as you want it to be.
Oh no,
because
it is.
It does a like
because he doesn't tell you. He's like he doesn't say, "Hey, you should go talk to Fragile about like the problems you're having with her." Because literally everything is being about like how all these people were like, "Hey, we hate Fragile.
But
she's a piece of shit. She's a terrorist."
Shows the scene again through Sam's eyes real quickly and how something seems peculiarly off about the guy handing you the package. It deliberately shows that
It only
again.
does that if you go to your private room.
Any private room. Well, any private room in any not city, not just Fragiles. So if you go visit and
the one that you're supposed to
anywhere
go
else-
to specifically to talk to Fragile is the one that you're like
No, it'll trigger on any of them.
on any of them.
Yeah.
Because it told me one specifically, which it's fucking stupid.
Yeah, it was
Anyway.
like Central Knot.
Yeah, I had to like go back there because I thought
Just
that's
to
what I was
see
supposed
her,
to do.
yeah,
Anyway,
but
yeah,
Emil,
like that's it only shows you
Emil.
that like after that happens.
Emil means labor, hard work, pure hope. So again, with the Kojima reference.
Yeah, I don't know. I that one was really angering to me.
Yeah, although the missions, the deliveries do become kind of oddly fulfilling when you do them enough. It's weird. It's like
It's a sadistic part.
No,
you never did it though. You didn't really do it, Craig.
I did it. I did it for 40 fucking hours.
Now that's chump change, Craig. That's nothing.
No,
I'm up to, like,
it's not.
53
I
because of
fucking
the
I
damn
did
trophies.
my duty, all right? I did the deliveries. I fucking hated it. Dude, none of these deliveries make any fucking sense. In the places that these people are bunkered out on, like, what the fuck? Like, the one mountaineer guy who's, like, on top of a fucking mountain in the middle of, like, a blizzardy area?
He's a mountaineer.
Why the fuck is he out there?
Because he's a mountaineer.
No,
that
how
doesn't
the
make
fuck-
any sense.
He's also
guy-
the only character
He's
with a
literally-
beard in the whole
Dead
world.
He's
man.
literally asking people to fucking deliver food and every fucking resource that they could
30
possibly
minutes or
need.
less, Craig. 30 minutes
I don't
or
give
less.
a shit. They require it, and they need food and things to be delivered to them, and they want you to climb up a fucking mountain in the snow every time, where they know the packages are going to deteriorate.
Why the
twice
fuck
as
did
fast?
Dead Man go up into the cabin and ask you to follow
I don't
him?
know. I don't know why he
Fat
did
ass
that.
couldn't
I
get
want to
up
know.
there.
I want to know how he got up there because that makes even less sense when
The
he opens up the
connections,
door.
Greg. It connects.
Dude, when he
the
opens
ladders.
no, when he opens the door and he's like not in a snow suit or anything, he's literally in his regular fucking suit. He's just like, "Hey, buddy, don't come over here." It's like, how the fuck did you get up there in the first place? You're a 300-pound man. Like, how did you get up this fucking mountain?
300. You're giving Del Toro a lot of credit.
And I just don't understand. How the fuck did he get up there? He's carrying a baby, and he's a huge fat guy. Like, I couldn't climb up a mountain. Certainly not in, like, 4 feet of fucking snow that's going to increase the amount of time in everything that it touches by, like, a shitload.
Yeah, but so
Fat guy
there
with
could
a
be
little baby.
There could be fat people who have a reasonable level of fitness. Like
Well,
there's this
consider the
one
way that
dude.
cells
There's this
divide.
one dude we
How
saw
can
in
fat people not
There's this one dude we
spontaneously
saw in New
combust?
York, and he was fucking hauling. Like
Yeah, that's
to
true.
make like he was moving super fast, and so I'm like, yeah, I mean, yeah, it'll be harder for some bigger dudes to climb a mountain, but I'm pretty sure there are some out there who can.
carrying a fucking baby?
The baby doesn't weigh that much.
Dude, you have to climb up these mountains with tools like fucking. You have to bring out these things that will create ladders for you. You have to bring out like all sorts of shit to climb up these fucking mountains. How the fuck did he get up there? That's what I want to know. He just like randomly
He's a
appears
mountaineer.
He randomly appears up there.
He was up there all
No, I'm
along.
not talking about the mountaineer. I'm talking about Dead Man. How the fuck did he get up on top of the mountain? He was on a peak
right
in a
before
fucking
that.
cabin.
Yeah, the Unger fight.
And he wasn't wearing like a snowsuit. He was wearing just a regular business suit, like the one he always wears. Like, why the fuck would he do that?
Maybe it doesn't affect him because
He is dead.
he's Frankenstein's
I mean, he's Frankenstein's monster, but still, like,
it doesn't age him because he's already dead. He's dead, man.
I don't know how
He's dead, man.
I don't
the
know how
deliveries.
I don't know how the time fall works on him.
He's
I literally
dead,
don't understand.
Man, that's why he can do it.
Maybe he could, just because like it literally doesn't affect him in any way. I don't know. It doesn't make sense, although it totally should, because it affects everything, not just like.
Yeah, there are no
living
animals.
beings.
It's to that extent. There's no animals.
Well,
There's no animals, and it's supposed to have changed the terrain of like the entire world, like insanely.
I love.
So I don't understand how
at the beginning, there's birds there. The very first cutscene has the birds.
Yeah,
And then there's no
birds.
animals or creature life to begin with left in the thing. So I think it's kind of like a continuity error. He's willing to put birds in the beginning of the game, and then they just disappear.
Or they just didn't think to put animals in the game. Maybe they're
Except
like,
for,
shit.
based off the first cutscene, we're like, yeah, animals. Oh yeah, what about those things?
Yeah, well, animals I couldn't see existing anymore just because of the time fall. Like even if they like
Then where'd the birds go, man?
even if they like went into like caves and shit, I couldn't really see it.
Yeah.
Bats.
Shit, how are we going to do this? Like, I gotta fucking go. Like, what are we going to do?
How much time do you have?
Like, a minute?
Oh god. Gameplay gets a 4.
I guess we should just fucking bum rush it then.
Bum rush, you think?
Or you
Well,
can
the
come back
design
and
doesn't
wrap it
really-
up tomorrow.
These two things are the biggest things that we have to talk about. So the rest,
Well, we could come back. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I don't have to work anymore. So
I'll have 2 kids.
He's transcended work.
I have at least until the 6th.
We could do it tomorrow earlier, and I could have Alex keep an eye on those two.
Alex is okay with that. I know.
I could try, but I can't finish it.
What
in
do you
time.
want to do? You want to do it like right when you get off?
I get off at 4 a.m.
Bet,
I don't
let's
think
do
you
it.
want to do that.
You get off at 4? I thought you got off at like 6.
No, I get off at 4. I've been getting off.
I mean,
at
you
6,
could just
but-
spend the night at your brother and then head over here at 4 and wrap it up.
Well, I mean, I could just do that anyway.
What do you guys
even
want to
here.
do? What do you want to do, Cameron?
I won't come back. I'm not needed.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
Get
fair.
out of here.
That's fair.
You're only bringing us down.
That's
Yeah,
why.
I'm only hating on this, and I know that certain of our listeners are going to go, well, it's because it's not a fucking shooter game. You can't appreciate it.
Well, it is
fuck that.
actually a third-person shooter. So
They do introduce
Because like
guns eventually.
I play shooter games just for the tactics and the competition. I don't enjoy it for the story.
Yeah.
But yeah,
because they're rarely good.
well, yeah, that's very true. It's usually 8 hours of garbage.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess we'll finish this up tomorrow then. Sorry. Not that you
I mean,
guys.
they don't care. To them, it's all at the same time. You're just saying sorry to yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. But can't really stop it. So. Okay, so I don't know. Like we said before, the gameplay, it's mostly frustrating. Also, welcome back.
Part 2.
Part 2. We have reassembled minus Cameron. So the review won't be as negative and bitchy as it was before.
I mean, it might still be.
You never know. Yeah, well, it probably will be because you're here still. So
Bitchiness, but with a reason.
yeah. Yeah, the gameplay is very frustrating at times. There's a lot of really cool mechanics in there, though. I think the balance mechanic is interesting, and I don't dislike it. What I dislike is the fact that everything is trying to destroy you while you play this game. Like, it's all about making the game less sufferable and most of the time the path to get there is more suffering. So like you go from tripping over every single rock, walking for ever and ever and ever across these these lands that look pretty cool, but they're not like, it's America, but it doesn't look like America at all. Other than like maybe major lakes occasionally. But the terrain doesn't look anything like it does here. Like the rocky area is the whole map pretty much, and the only thing that separates that is the snow and the woodland with more
you
rocks.
don't even see like any deserty areas. Like there's a part where you pass through like I think the tip of Nevada, and like there's not any bit of desert at all. You're just you go basically from like the East Coast where everything is just basically green fields with a couple rivers, and then a bunch of boulders everywhere. Then you move into more mountainous areas that are more rocky, that have a lot of like random cliffs. And then you move on to like another area that's like snowy. Then after that you get the forest areas, but there's still like a shitload of boulders and stuff.
California, there's no forest areas left because they all burned.
Yeah, they should have burned away long ago.
No landmarks of any note in this. It's very disappointing in that regard if it's trying to recreate the United States.
It's also really odd because like once you get to the East Coast, it just becomes like a huge tar pit, like Tar River or something that you have to cross in like a special way to like jumping across like the buildings, because like there's a lot of BTs just swimming out in the tar that's over there. Yeah.
It's, I don't know. And then honestly, another frustrating aspect of gameplay is it's kind of ridiculous when like the combat is what you don't want. Like, you don't want the game to be the fun combat. You want to just get to where you're going and be done. Like, that's not a good sign. Like, the combat should be something where I'm like, oh, cool, it's time to fight. But instead I'm like, oh my god, I don't want to fight.
Yeah, I always felt like that too. Like, the combat was basically just getting in the way of what I was trying to do.
Yeah, it's not that the combat's bad. I don't think it's bad.
It's not bad, but it's not like... It's not something you seek out. Because, like, the gunfights are kind of you get your weapons and they have a set amount of ammo, and once you run out of ammo, the only way to replenish it is to either get a new fucking gun or go rest in one of your private rooms.
Yeah.
Those are the only two ways to recover ammo.
It's dumb because you can't even pick up ammo from other guns. You just pick up the whole gun.
Yeah, you just have to pick up the whole gun and then drop your last gun.
And it's funny because that gun will have extra clips, but you can't pick those up by themselves.
Yeah, you can't pick up the extra ammo, which is really lame.
For most video games, from a realistic standpoint, people should be praising that, but it's a video game and you shouldn't.
Well,
like, if the gun's already loaded, you can't steal bullets from it, like most games that you would have.
Yeah, but these guns usually have multiple clips.
Can you get closer to that?
Yeah.
Keep talking?
Yeah.
Your mic's not on.
It should be.
Then whatever was going on with...
Oh, now it is. Just get a little closer.
Yeah. You want me to eat the mic today?
Well, I want you to get a little closer.
All right.
So that's
what
good.
What the hell?
I think it was just loose. Unless you were just so quiet that it was barely visible.
I got this groaning voice today, so I think I'm quiet.
Well, it wasn't showing up, so we'll have to listen later. But
Christ.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of cool crafting in the game, though. I like the building materials. I like grabbing the PCCs and then going out and just placing them, because you basically connect everybody to the chiral network, which is the internet / the electric grid, right?
Yeah.
And once they have that connection, the area around them is connected. So, like, the general vicinity is now on the network, and you can then build structures that are on the chiral network in there. So that allows you to build like safe houses, zip lines, which are amazing in the snow area. That's the only way to travel in the snow area. And then like post boxes to I don't really know what the fuck those are for, but
They're basically so that you can drop off any extra items
Or lost cargo.
or lost cargo,
okay,
and then
okay.
other people can come pick it up if they want to go do the deliveries for you.
Okay,
You
I
lazy
think
fuck.
yeah, I think the gameplay got a lot better with the last patch because for a while, like it felt like it wasn't really reacting to likes and like reacting to the environment as well. But ever since they put the new patch in, I think it's gotten back to what it was when I first started. Because like it seems really barren in a lot of these areas. Like there's one zip line, but like the game gives you some of what the people have laid down, but not all of what the people have laid down.
So
Yeah, I always came across like the zip lines, but there was never the connecting zip line.
Yeah.
So it's like, well,
so
what's
you
the
have to
fucking
build
point?
your own zipline network. But
Yeah,
then
like, I would be like at the top of a mountain, there'd be a zipline thing, and I was like, oh, cool, I can use this, and then it wouldn't be connected to anything. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, so I still have to climb down the mountain. Cool.
And so I don't really understand what the game decides to pull and when, because like I'll occasionally get likes for some of my zip lines, but I'm like,
Yeah.
well, that zip line was somewhere where you had to have a zip line to connect to all the other zip lines that were in the area. So I don't know when the game chooses to pull your stuff into other people's worlds. Like I don't get when any of that happens.
I understand the idea for the multiplayer aspect of the game, but I don't
like the likes.
necessarily like it. Because it's really confusing to me.
Yeah,
I don't know what its purpose is exactly, other than like, oh, well, you share a world, and really the only thing you really share seems to be the roads, because you only get, some of the stuff that other people have put in.
Yeah, it's not everything, and it's good that it's not everything, because then the game would be built by those who started it.
But it's also weird because like it seems to also pool the resources for everybody for you as well. Like when you put resources into a building, they can take it out if they want to.
Yeah, and they can also add to things that you've built. So like I built almost every road in this game. Like I built a ton of roads, except for in the last area, the Mountain Knot. I didn't build the roads all the way up in that area because they're so expensive. I probably could now though, and I probably will. But the thing is like I'm getting people will add materials to the auto paver all the time, so people are like upkeeping the road. But I still don't really get how the multiplayer works, and it's not a big deal because I think it's actually really cool because it's basically us working together.
Cool in concept.
Yeah.
Execution's a little iffy.
Yeah, execution is odd.
It reminds me a lot of The Last of Us Online. Remember that, where like you collect materials and you have like your online presence exists, but then the whole like multiplayer aspect or the whole community building aspect is like a single player in a multiplayer game.
Yeah,
it kind of reminds me of that. I think honestly, The Last of Us is better because it's less like fuck you. It's less. You understand what it is, but this one you don't really understand what it is.
Yeah, you don't understand what's happening.
And like
I haven't looked it up or anything. I haven't done any research on like exactly what like is supposed to be pulled. What the thing is, and so my understanding is basically like it's completely random and it's oddly functional.
It seems to be. I mean, maybe it gives you like. But like even then,
forcing
like
you to connect with another person.
Yeah, well, I don't
without
mind
never really knowing who they are, so you can't really. There isn't a team multiplayer,
Yeah.
per
And
se,
the thing
because
that-
no way could we all connect and do it ourselves.
I wish we could.
have the same aspect that there is
Yeah.
in something like Journey, in which you don't know who the hell it is until the end, and then
but
they
you
give
can
the ID.
you can play with other people in Journey though. If we all start at the same time, we can play together. But in this, we can't. So like, here's the other frustrating part: is like, you get in and there's one road built.
I guess the odds now, but back then, no.
Yeah, but there's one road built, and then you build every other single road that's ever going to be. And I'm like, does no one build roads in this game but me? They had to have, though, because some of these people have like 1.5 million likes, and like you get likes every time
Yeah.
somebody uses your equipment. And like maybe they had some stuff early on that got used a ton by everyone that joined it, but like then I have to ask
500,000,
how
yeah.
exactly do people join up with each other? Like
Yeah,
how are people
exactly
selected?
How
Like
early it is because
Yeah.
we started playing pretty much when the game came out. At
but
least
we
I
did
so
like everything in our worlds though, didn't we?
pretty much. Well, I mean, I didn't do any like side missions, but I did build some roads and I did like
Dude.
place a bunch of pathways myself.
I built the entire way everything except for Mountain Knot and then the connecting city. I built all the way. So I built from all the way from like North or Lake Knot City all the way down to the South Knot. That was forever. And then I built all the way out past the incinerator and connected to the first area of the mountain region. And then I couldn't go from Mountain Knot to that, you know, that area that's like in the mountainous area. I couldn't do that. Yeah, I couldn't handle it. It was too. I was like, I can't spend like 80 hours on this game. Like, I'm not even getting trophies anymore. Like, I already got the like trophy. There's nothing left here.
Yep.
I freaking built like.
I mean, the game does throw a lot of trophies at you. I got 60% just by playing the main story.
Yeah,
and that's all I did. I did one side quest and I didn't even get a trophy. For that.
It's hilarious. You did the one that you got the otter hat from Conan O'Brien. Like I just barely did that one like yesterday. I was like, how the hell did you get that one? That's the one you chose. Did you wear it?
Yeah, I wore it.
Does it help you swim?
No.
Oh, lame.
All it is it just looks like an otter.
Cosmetic item.
Oh, that's kind of cool, I guess. There's a lot of fun stuff in there, and I do like the deliveries in the game. I do. I think it's fun. And then like it's an extra little bonus thing to help you gather materials to then build the roads and build the world back up. I think the multiplayer aspect is cool. I wish it was a little bit better done, and I wish we could have private servers because
I mostly
then
wish it was more defined.
Yeah, more like we knew exactly what was going on, like the game explained. Like I'm sure we could find something online, but like I shouldn't have to go external. You shouldn't have to look online to figure out how a mechanic in a game works. The game should tell you, and the game tells you everything about the story. Like the emails,
the plot.
The emails pretty much fill in the small holes that the plot doesn't give you. So, like, why don't we have emails about, like, oh, this is how the fucking game works? Like, this is how you connect with other porters, and then that's how you refer to the other characters, because that's what they are. The idea is that we're all in this world together. Everyone that's playing this game, and we're helping rebuild America as a team, and that's the whole. It's like you can see that reflected with the NPCs in the game, but it's also implied that the other players are helping along the way too. So Sam is the main character, but all of these other players are like NPCs in Sam's world and your version of the game's world, helping to build it up. But there's no definition of what stays, and it's, you were really mad about that, and I was like, that's kind of ridiculous to be mad about. But then I'm thinking, like, well, then you don't know. Like, well, then it's like, why build all these roads if it's not actually helping people? And, like, I used to get a ton of likes on the roads, and now I don't. And I'm like, are people just not using the roads? Like, that doesn't seem likely.
That's the thing
people
that
completed the game because of your roads, and then they stopped playing.
But then it's like, well, why am I in a server with people that aren't playing anymore?
Like, that's one thing that I was, like, complaining about is because, like, it's not defined, so we don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, So if someone, plays the game later on...
3 years from now.
3 years from now, and nobody's, like, on that same server, or they're put onto a server with nobody playing, and the roads have decayed and everything, does that mean that person now has to do everything themselves?
Yeah.
Like,
none of this is...
Who knows?
It's completely... I don't understand.
Here's what I was thinking it was. It's like, okay, let's say 200 people start the game today. You get 20 in each server. So these 20 go to this server, these 20 go to this server, these 20 go to this server, and they divvy it up by start time. But then that doesn't really work because, let's say Jake finished it. Let's say we all started on the same day. Our experience with this game is vastly different for the three of us just sitting here. Like, yeah. I've got 70-something hours in here, which is sick.
I've gotten up to 50.
Yeah, Jake's at 50.
Days, but
you've been smarter with your time. I did so many deliveries. Like, you have no idea. Actually, you do have an idea because I have all the delivery trophies. It's sick.
Yeah, I got about 100 pieces of cargo left for the 700 trophy.
Yeah, it was hours and hours and hours of me just taking stuff back and forth, gathering the materials from those missions, throwing them into the road, and then going back and doing the same thing over and over and over. Into the road. I built the roads. Yeah. The roads are, and they get. Oh my god, dude! The Mountain Knot roads. Those are unacceptable. Those are so expensive. Like, I'm gonna have to go on
like 5,000 chiral crystals or something.
Yeah, and then we're talking like 7,000 ceramics too. I'm like, oh my god, that's like ridiculous.
Yeah, ceramics are the thing that I could never find.
I was screeching at like 2,300 of the other ones. It's like 7K, just. And there's like 10 of them in there. I'm like, damn.
Those ones are definitely meant to be built with multiple people.
Yeah, but it doesn't seem like it's happening because they're all empty. All the pavers are empty. It's like, does no one use it here. And like, there's a zip line, and like, this is the area where you start ziplining in the game, right? Because the mountains are just so brutal to walk. And the zip line basically takes over for the road because it's faster, it's better in like every way, pretty much. But there's only one zip line, and like I and it's pretty cheap to make a bunch of zip lines. But the other part about the zip line that sucks is you can't really have big loads of cargo. And some of those little mini missions, the side quests, have huge loads, like massive.
Oh.
They've been saving up for weeks, and like they just want you to dump their huge load off, and I can't let them just put their big load all over my back. Like, I can't hold it all. It's too much, And so I have to take their load and stuff it inside a truck and then drive it off. But I can't really drive in the freaking mountains because it's horrible. So, dude, I have like the most intricate setup in the mountain region in this game ever. It's like I put down like 20 of these stupid zip lines, and I could go anywhere. I could go any one place.
Made a fucking zigzag.
I did.
Up, down, loop, de.
Yeah, dude. I could go from any
Hot Wheels track.
from any one little way station to any other way station in like no time because of the zip line. It's like there's zip lines.
That is smart.
Everywhere.
Get it done.
And it's like, I'm just tired of walking. I got so sick of walking in the game.
Yeah, you will walk 500 miles.
Yeah, oh yeah, easy. And like every once in a while, the hipster music will kick on when you're walking, and I'm just like, God, just shoot me. Like,
Yeah, every time you're heading to like a story place, and then it's like,
low roar. It's like, God,
Yep.
it's painful. There's that. I liked the emails. Honestly, there were some fun little side stories in there. They did a good job fleshing out the characters, I think.
yeah, there are some interesting ones.
I know you complained about the junk dealer and his wife because they're kind of douchebags, but
Well, yeah, they're douchebags, and they have no
concept.
fucking relevance towards the plot at all. Like, it honestly, one of the things that I have a problem with the gameplay for this game and in relation to its story is that sometimes the game feels like it doesn't respect your time.
Yeah.
Because it
forces you to walk.
It forces you to walk literally everywhere until you get roads, and then you can drive. But like, so it's taking extra time that way. But then like it forces you to watch every little cutscene for like every little thing.
Yeah, and like
This is where I was efficient.
Like every time you go to
yeah, but you shouldn't
your
have
private
to say skip.
I know.
Every time
I know.
you go to your private room, you got to watch them shower, you got to watch them shit, you got to watch them piss, like because you got to get those
Shower,
grenades.
shit, and shave, but not in that order.
And then you got to drink the monsters. And you got to watch him like lean back and kick up his feet. And then if you drink the beers, you got to watch him shake it and then spray it up in your face. And then you got to soothe the BB to get the bonus stuff with him. And then
Yeah, I like doing that. Except for my controller was all retarded. Almost every time I did it, like I would do it and he would stop doing it like 2 seconds later.
well, I mean, there's that soothing, but you can like soothe him when you're in the private room. And
yeah.
it's just a little,
And you get did you guys get the Del Toro soothe thing?
yeah, where
Yeah.
he like surprises, turns around, and it's Del Toro's.
I was
face on
hoping
the
he would do
body.
it to more of them, but it was just I only ever saw Del Toro.
Yeah, it was only Del Toro.
Like I was hoping he'd turn around and it'd be like Mads Mikkelsen. Just like
There was one I got where it was like replaced with the baby doll that Higgs had.
yeah. That one happened too.
Yeah, there's some weird ones, but yeah, I mean, it just like forces you to watch all these little cutscenes, and then while you're walking to like, just to give you like some exposition, like while you're on your way, it'll fucking stop you. Like it will force you to stop moving.
Oh,
and then it'll bring up like
The
their
codec.
face on the codec thing and be like, okay, now we need to talk to you for 5 minutes. And it's like, why are you doing this? Like, I don't need to see the like
I
fractured
just barely
picture of your
fucking
face
left.
while you
could
explain
have
stuff
grabbed
to
me before I left.
I mean, yeah, there's that, but like on chapter 13, when you're like on your way back to the first city you get to, so you could get to Fragile and give her the crypto bites or whatever. Dead Man interrupts you like 6 fucking times to talk to you for like 5 minutes each time, and it's like,
And there's two fights.
I couldn't,
right?
yeah, and there's like 2-3 fights along the way as well, and it's like, I couldn't just walk the whole time. I couldn't just, because by that time most of my roads were completed, so I was just riding the whole time.
Yeah.
But then I was forced to stop while Dead Man explained stuff to me, and I was like, Did Kojima literally design this to force you to stop because he didn't like? Because you would be moving too fast.
Yeah,
well, the game, like, why? Because otherwise, like, why the fuck couldn't he just explain this while I was moving?
Okay, so there's that, and then every time you run into any part that's, anytime that we walked into any part of the game,
when you were making deliveries, when you were connecting to the UAC with the Cupids,
or whenever you run across the BTs, even worse, you can't skip it.
Oh yeah, that
you'll get the little thing where he'll slow down and then like the truck will freak out a little bit because it's like a weird. Out. It's almost like an electromagnetic thing that's going on.
Yeah,
which makes a lot of sense.
I mean, it's supposed to tell you that BTs are there, but it's pretty fucking clear when they're around.
Yeah, and then
like, you don't need the little fucking 30-second indicator telling you that they're around because it goes in slow motion to show you that. It's
and
like,
then it does it again. So it does it the first time to warn you they're
and then it
close.
Does it again when they're gone.
Yeah, and then it does it when they're there. So it does it to tell you that you're getting close, and then it like stops, and then it gets all like oh my god, camera shaking, like the little like thing like flies out, and it's like camera's like freaking out, and then it like shoots you back into wherever you were, which is of course on a road, and you're like trying to survive driving these shitty the handling on these cars is awful. By the way,
the handling on the vehicles is absolute shit. I mean, the motorcycle is fine,
but the truck,
but it's absolute ass when there's anything in its way.
If it's not a straight shot, it's horrible. It like takes forever to turn.
There's something up with its programming.
It's like it's rear wheel drive. It's so fucked up.
And if it's stuck thorough enough, and you keep pressing jump and backwards and
you can't
forwards
get out.
and giving it stuff like that,
I had to abandon
you can get
multiple
out,
vehicles.
but it's like multiplying again and again and again, so that when you finally go out, the truck goes batshit crazy. And you don't have any control
it's as if all of it was
putting forth all the programming of the buttons that you had already put in.
That's if you get it back. See, the first thing
I've gotten stuck.
The first truck I ever came across, I was like so happy. I beat a bunch of mules up, and then I took their truck. And I was like, oh, thank God. And then I got it stuck on a rock.
The truck is awesome because you can load it with a shitload of stuff, and it's like, oh my God, this is amazing.
And I got it stuck.
This is like that. That's the point when you're like, oh my God, now the game is going to get easier. Maybe it'll be fun.
Yeah.
And that's when I told you, just like Holes, you were fucking Stanley Yelnats when you stole Mr. Sir's truck and you put it into a fucking hole.
Exactly. I got it stuck, and it was like in the middle. It was like a rock that wasn't very big, but like I got it to where it was in the center of my vehicle, and I couldn't move it.
None of the wheels are rotating.
And I was like, wow, the game gives me a nice thing, and it just rips it away from me. Like, it only gave it to me to see the look on my face as it was stolen, as I realized, wow, this rock is seriously going to take this truck from me. And then they stole all my shit because I couldn't carry it all.
Kids opening up Christmas presents and then you fucking take them.
Exactly, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, and see, that's one of the things that I was complaining about, like with like how there in the lore there's no pathways that these guys have like previously set up, because there should be. Like, even if it's not a straight up paved road that, the ones like we build where it's connected to like a generator so it, constantly charges it the whole time. Like, there should be like at least a dirt path the whole way to literally every one of these like major bunkers.
There kind of is a dirt path.
I mean, there's a vague path that's
there's
like
still
where
shit
the road
on it
is going to be.
Kind of, yeah. There's still shit everywhere though. There's like rocks in the way, and like you can't.
Yeah, but like the thing that makes me mad is like when you're when you're in the later areas and you're on the mountain paths and you're moving along where the road is supposed to be placed, you can clearly see where the road is supposed to be, because like there's a pathway where there aren't rocks, which like obviously it's the pathway, and then everywhere else is just a shitload of rocks.
Yeah.
It's like, place road here, obvious. Like, it's like, really, you're gonna do that?
Well, most of those little paths aren't even the roadway though. If you start
the major one is though, like that's the thing. It's like the widest one where like there's no rocks. That's obviously.
But
where
you
the
go
road
over
goes.
a lot
and
of
like
rocks.
That's where the auto pavers are always there.
Yeah, you can kind of tell where they're going to be, but it's like it's so poorly.
But what I mean is like there's no system of at least like footpaths or or roadways specifically for like motorcycles or anything. There's nothing like that for any of these places.
Yeah, and it's painful.
And it's like, how are they using any of these vehicles if I can't?
And that's why I got so pissed. Like, there was a moment where like I got the motorcycle for the first time, and I was like, oh, thank God these deliveries, because I was trying to do a bunch of extra stuff in the beginning, because I was like, oh, the deliveries are kind of fun. It's kind of fun knowing that you're helping out this world. Like it adds value. Like it's weirdly fulfilling. It's hard to explain because it's so painful. And then I got the motorcycle, and I was like, oh, man, this is going to be a game changer. And then I was like, oh, no, actually, this is just as bad, because now instead of tripping over every rock, I'm getting stuck and bouncing backwards off of every rock.
Yep. Yeah.
Like, not much better.
Yeah, you have to literally do, like, a wheelie the entire time to get around anywhere while you're on the motorcycle if you're not, like, on a road or straight path.
And then have you guys ever had a moment where you're playing and you press square, you're only going a few miles an hour, but he'll, like, dive out of the car? And like, or like sometimes you'll fall out of the car somehow. Like you'll go off a cliff a little roughly, and you'll fall out, and all of your shit will fall out and just slam on the ground. And it's like, what the fuck? Like this game is based
over a bigger hill, and it did no damage to the truck.
Yeah, and you fly out. Yeah. All my shit flies out. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, this game is all about being careful and being delicate with this fragile equipment and shit that you're traveling in between.
And then it doesn't abide by its own rules.
Yeah, it is that fragile. That's the thing. Is like the game is fragile. Like all the shit that you're carrying.
Pizza ruined due to stacking.
Yeah,
I had nothing to do with that.
Yeah, the game auto stacked on the pizza. Like,
you can't stack it on
fucking
your own
bottom.
Yeah, that's true. It's like Jesus Christ, you know.
Me, it was never an issue. I didn't even really auto stack because I never pushed enough weight to.
I wonder if you could stack the pizza like on your shoulder.
Yeah, that'd be pretty sweet.
Because you could place the stuff like on your shoulder or on your hips, so you could like hip mount.
I'm gonna try and see if I can attach sperm and eggs to my hip.
I think you need to have the pizza horizontal, though, is what they said.
Oh, so it does need to be on the back?
I think so, unless you hold your arms out the whole time. Runs like an
some
idiot.
Some of the pizza I've had delivered seems like it was delivered fucking vertically. Let me tell you what.
Yeah, it's like, why is this all slid to one side? It's just
don't worry about it.
Tomato paste on bread.
Proper, you know.
It's tomato paste on bread for 3/4 of it, and then the other fourth is amazing. Like, it's just like the greatest pizza ever because all the shit's over there.
Well, how the fuck do they expect you to deliver a pizza too? That's the thing that makes me angry. Is like, what happens if you like deliver the pizza and then the time fall happens? Like,
yeah, it's just rotten pizza.
Well, yeah, I would imagine
it's like day old
just, like,
pizza. Everybody claims it's the best.
It's day old countertop pizza.
It wouldn't even be day old. It would just like disappear because like you saw how like quickly that one dude in the beginning ages. He like he goes from being like 25 to being like 98 in this like a second.
Yeah. Inconsistent concept.
Yeah. There's a lot of frustration. The premium deliveries are pretty easy. The trophies for it are actually insanely bonkers. Like, it seems like it's really easy.
You're supposed to get S on every one of the premium.
But what it is you're supposed to get S on every one of the varieties of delivery, which I didn't even know was a thing until I started trying this. And I was like, where the hell is my trophy at? Because like the trophies will have like different types. There's like speed. There's like
the timed ones.
Time ones. There's time ones. There's condition ones. There's like bulk ones. I think there's like 7 or 8. You have to do at least 80 of those with the S rank, the whatever God tier title they give you. Legend of Legends is what it is.
Oh, the cargo weight 60 thing. Okay.
Yeah, but you have to do that with every category. You have to get 10 of every category. And I'm like, I don't even know where the fuck I'm at with any of these categories, to be honest. So I'm just going to do deliveries until I get the trophy. Like, that's just how it's going to have to be. And then work on those other facilities, getting them up to 5 stars.
Oh, yeah. And then one of the other gameplay things is it has delivery bots.
Oh, yeah.
Which basically will complete these little side quests for you.
But they'll do a shit job of it.
Yeah, they'll always be super shitty about it. So it's like, why even have them? You know, like, because you'll send them to a place that's really close by. You know, there's like no real problems. And then it's like, okay, we'll be done in like 10 minutes. And then 10 minutes later, it's like, yeah, we fucked up super bad. So you got like a D rank. And it's like...
Yeah, it's like, what kind of fucking robot is this? Technology sucks.
There is that, but it is free labor. So These missions aren't
yeah, but
tied into yours.
you don't really get anything out of doing it.
No,
It's
they-
more like you're
man.
delivering it for them.
They are the same missions, though.
They are?
Yeah, they're not robot specific.
Well,
They're just if you would rather have the robot do it, which the answer is always, well, no. I would rather it not be done than be done shittily like this stupid robot's going to do. It's pretty cool, though. The robots are fun.
The machines are taking over.
The robots are fun. They have they're humming and shit as they walk off, but they do such a trash job that
it's
I don't even bother. I would just kick
Tesla car crashing into the sidewalls.
Yeah, I would just kick that robot. If it came and brought my shit, I'm like, what is this? I ordered this a week ago. It said 2-day free shipping, and it also looks like shit. What happened?
Yeah.
Just burp, burp, burp. So there's that. There's a bunch of ways to make the game less frustrating, but that's not making the game better necessarily. It's just making you hate it less.
Yeah,
and that's not a good thing. That's a bad thing.
I mean,
it's like cutting off your kneecaps and then you offer them stilts instead of a wheelchair.
The game never felt exciting for me. The only time where I was remotely excited was when I was I first got the bola gun, because it's oh well, now I have a way to fight those mule guys.
Yeah,
and so I went and when I encountered them, I used it. I was like, oh sweet, now I have a chance to use it. I used it and I was like, oh, this is kind of fun. And then they all started getting up 10 seconds after I shot them, and I'm like, oh, okay, so what the fuck was the point?
It's
basically to just help you get away. It's not to
Yeah, I just physically fought everybody.
Yep.
And if I found them, if they had a container that was useless, I would beat the shit out of the first one, grab the useless container of items, and then use the container to knock the second one out in one hit. That was always really fun. It would ruin whatever is in there, but if it was terrorist boots or whatever, or mule boots, and I didn't need boots, I would just fucking club the next guy with the
One of the things that always made me that I didn't really care for was that there's stealth in the game. Both from BTs and from the mules.
Yeah, but it's weird
stealth. It's got the tall grass, which is a fucking staple of these
open world games.
Of these open world games for stealth moments. And but then it's oh well, if you have a stack that's too high, then they'll see you anyway. And it's well, of course I'm going to have a huge stack. I can't not have a huge stack.
Yeah, I'm trying to deliver stuff.
That's the game. The stack is a part of my character now.
Yeah, yeah. There's that. The stack gets in the way then, and then when you're walking under stuff that's too tall, your stack will just get smacked off.
There is the missions where you're deliberately supposed to go into the mule's place.
Yeah,
and
you're
get
supposed
those.
to go in there
That's kind of the
and
whole
then recover
concept
the
for
stuff.
Is you're not supposed to go in there with a full load.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Go
but
blasting.
I always just steal a truck and put everything on.
It sucks because your base doesn't want you to. They won't let you repair the mule trucks.
Yeah, which is weird.
So you can't make them your own, which is fine because a lot of people have trucks they donate, and vehicles are everywhere in the game.
I think it's because they're
players.
not vehicles that were printed by the UCA or whatever, so they're not connected to the chiral network, and so they're oh well, we can't work on them.
Yeah,
This vehicle doesn't have a VIN number.
It's like the mechanics at a dealership. They're yeah, we only deal at Honda here. And it's come on, it's a Hyundai. It's basically a cheap ripoff of the Honda. Yeah, well, we can't be bothered to learn how to fix it. And it's come on, you're a robot. It's a robot that fixes these fucking things. What do you mean you can't fix it?
Yeah, it's all electrical now. And
no one even
mechanical.
mans this thing. It's just fucking Roboto fixing the shit. Why can't he fix the mule truck? It's beautiful. I love the mule truck.
Yeah.
No, and then you just your poor baby mule truck that's carried you through so much pain and suffering just dies slowly and then painfully.
And the mule areas always have the best stuff.
Yeah,
they have tons of resources that you use for
it's a good raiding spot.
That's I was thinking about it and I was if it was more like a game where the multiplayer was more clearly defined and was more like an actual multiplayer game, where we could have a server thing to ourselves.
Yeah, like a 5-man
and then we could just
server.
work on and then we could just work on it together.
I think
go on raids on the mules, take their stuff back. Go build the roads, keep up on things.
Just think of how much easier.
Take out BTs together.
Yeah.
Make them actual boss fights instead of these nonsensical time wasters, because that's honestly what the BT fights felt to me.
There were a lot where I just
they would
ran
just
from,
drag
yeah.
you back to the fight and force you to fight the thing.
And
But
then after you kill it, your car goes 600 fucking miles away.
And
You
it's
have to go pick
ruined
it up.
half the time, too,
Yeah.
because of the rain.
And and then you get these chiral crystals, which you don't really use for anything other than like for roads, and then like a few other few special devices.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, I ended the game with like 10,000 crystals, and I didn't really use them for anything, so I just put them all into roads. But I was like, this is ridiculous. Like, I didn't have a need for any of these BT fights because like they don't hit you. At least for me, none of them hit me like at all. Because like
they don't hit you.
the
It's
lion
just the
ones,
one
even
hit,
when there's like 2 or 3
kill
lion
things.
dudes attacking you at once, there's like grenade to you, grenade to you, grenade to you, and then they all dive and then pop up somewhere else and then try to attack you, but like the attack and move so slow that all you have to do is throw another grenade and then they dive down below. And they don't touch you.
And then
at
while
all.
you're doing that, you can call out, and then like the other players, it's implied, like throw you items to help you fight as well. So you can even show up completely
other
unprepared.
players are like the dead people. The ink people will start rising and throwing you both weapons and blood bags and other things to like keep you alive. And it's like, okay, so the game is just super easy then. Because literally the hardest fight in the game for me was the last Clifford Unger fight. You know, when you
well, there's no fucking cover, and those guys are hidden.
there's like no cover, and then he has like way more of the soldiers in that third fight,
and you can't fucking see them for shit. It's like, where are they? Like, they're in the grass and shit, and there's bullets flying out, and I'm like, I can't hit that.
Yeah, and then it's like, why is there even cover, like, or why is there even like stealth stuff in that mission when none of the guns have silencers?
Yeah.
None of them are meant for stealth, so like, why is there stealth for you in the first place?
Yeah, I really like the Clifford Unger fight, so
I'd rather there be cover than there be stealth, because like...
I really enjoyed the idea that they each had the like soldiers had their own beach, and like it was a reincarnation of all these other world wars, like, because Clifford Unger, he wasn't part of those wars. He was part of like... What, like Desert Storm or some shit? Like something way modern.
Yeah, you know, he's kind of a badass character, because if you like really think about it and what they kind of tell you, it's like his rage and his desire to find his BB basically brought him back from hell.
Yeah.
And since he did that, he had his own dooms. It wasn't like brought by like anybody else.
Yeah.
Like, he himself is the one who like controls these things, and it's like, holy shit.
That's how pissed
It's
he was.
Al Simmons. He spawned.
It's like that guy
He's literally
he's like-
spawned.
he's a freak.
Yeah.
Man. He's badass.
He's super fucking. He comes back from his own beach like with no one's help, and he's got all these dudes with him from World War II and shit. And like the first fight is World War One.
Yeah,
and then the second
you
one's
move
World
on
War
to
II.
World War II,
Army
and then
United.
Vietnam.
Yeah, and then Vietnam.
Together
and it's
we
like,
stand.
He didn't fight in any of these wars, but it's weird because it is a uniting of a beach. It's like a similar. It explained it that like all these war zones with their own kind of beaches in a way, their own kind of like.
Well, it's like people who die in battle or whatever, like have their emotions basically like.
They have like a shared beach.
Yeah, because like it was a traumatizing experience, so they're like all.
It's a really cool idea. Yeah, I like that a lot, and it was super.
Since the idea of the beach being purgatory in the first place, it's like an extra level of just like
because.
An interesting concept,
because especially in some of those World War One and Two with the draft and stuff, it was kind of like a purgatory. Like it's not something you want to do. You're in between, choice and duty. You're in between like life and death. It's just like the beach with the being in the battlefield. Yeah. It was super fucking sweet. But and I liked the combat. I like the hand-to-hand. I like the guns.
It's not bad. It really isn't. But
it's just the way they pace it. There's something about the way they pace it with the gameplay, like with the deliveries. It just gets in the way. It feels like
it gets in the way, and it feels jarring.
And it's annoying because you don't get to plan it sometimes. Like sometimes you'll just get yanked off, and it's like I don't have any weapons, and so then it's going to take forever to fight these things. So I'll just run. I'll just walk out of the vicinity and leave.
Well, the thing that always made me mad too is like late in the game told me that I could try and deflect the searching beam or whatever will send out by like sending out my own like searching thing, because you can search for any like cargo that you've lost on the ground or like for certain objectives or whatever.
Yeah.
And I tried doing that, but like I never got it right. Like the timing was also like always super weird. Like I don't know how I was supposed to deflect it with my own searching.
Yeah, I don't know.
Thing.
I was able to do it, but it just kind of depended. There's a lot of things in this game, though. There's like it has a lot of depth as far as the gameplay is concerned.
It has a lot of depth, and it has a lot of weird little mechanics that you wouldn't normally think about. Like I placed a ladder across a river, and I was able to drive a motorcycle across it, which is cool. Like, you know, that's something that normally you probably wouldn't think about. And then they have that little mechanic where there's like the you guys know the little the little carrier thing that you could attach to your hip and whatever. You ever use that, Jake?
I rode on it. That's what I did.
That, yes.
Yeah, that thing, yeah. You can ride on it, and it's like kind of like a skateboard thing.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to talk about shitty mechanics in vehicles? That thing is shitty.
Nah, I enjoyed that thing a lot.
I got down some mountains pretty damn nice.
Yeah, like, you go down
it
some mountains
quickly,
with that
but
thing. It's awesome.
Oh, man.
It's not tenable for much more than going down mountains.
No, it's not. But
that was amazing when you first got it.
It is really
I mean,
useful to have
mechanics
along
is-
for like carrying stuff as well, because like for some reason it'll just stick behind you while you're climbing up a ladder or like other shit. It'll just be like floating up behind you.
That's pretty cool. I didn't
And
use
so
it like
it's
that.
like, oh, okay, well I don't have to carry everything on my back. It's
like
I was like, oh, it's actually pretty nice.
It's like our bearer thralls in Conan Exiles. To bring
Yeah,
it back
basically.
around to the real game.
But then it's like also like pushing over your bearer thrall and using him like a skateboard.
Exactly, which is sweet. You know, or you going down a mountainside with the carrier thrall as your snowboard.
Yeah.
How much cooler would that game be if you could do that?
A lot.
Yeah.
It's like
We will work the slaves.
You ever play Prototype?
Yeah.
There's that one that body surfing skill
that
you can
move.
get.
Yeah.
Basically be like that.
Yeah, I didn't like that game all that much, but
It was all right.
it's like a crappier version of Infamous.
Really? 'Cause I was
Yeah,
hoping to
I
get
mean,
around to both of those.
it's a power fantasy game, and there's not many of those, so it's kind of fun in its own way.
Yeah. Well, all right, so I think we've covered most of the gameplay aspects as far as I'm concerned. I don't know of any other things to bring up. Fast travel is kind of nice, but it sucks because you can't bring anything with you, so it's like I don't ever use it.
Yeah, you have to like reprint all of your equipment that you want to use, otherwise like you basically just lost it. So.
And I won't lose cargo.
If you put anything into a private locker, you got to remember where you put it in.
Yeah,
because it will stay in that one facility.
Yeah, it's like Resi 2 has the network of boxes, but this place apparently not.
The infamous item box, and they can't do that.
Yeah, seriously. This is the one game where it's like acceptable because they can fabricate things from thin air.
They can fabricate things, and there's the delivery robots that
exactly
can move between each area.
Give me my
with your
shit,
stuff.
bitch.
Yeah, it's like really, I can't just like recall my stuff from anywhere. Like, I mean, I'm not recalling it from some of those private bunkers that you can build on your own. Maybe that's like acceptable, but
I suppose
if it's like in a huge, one of those distribution centers and like one of the main cities or bunkers, like why not? Why not be able to recover it? Let's see. There was another thing I think that I wanted to cover. I can't remember what it was.
In order to start getting 5 stars, it doesn't. With each facility, half of it doesn't matter that you keep doing deliveries. It's the fact that you had to find their lost cargo for them to even start liking you.
Yeah, and then like my relationship with the black guy is like so strained in this game. Like I'll bring him like so much shit, and he'll just give me like a tiny little tick each time, just like he's like, "Oh, thanks a ton, Sam. You're the best." And like brings up the result screen, and it's like the tiniest sliver for like 300 pounds of shit, and I'm like,
yeah,
dude.
and then all the other levels that you got, your bridge level went up 10, your cargo time went up by 10, the cargo weight went up by 10. You're like, this is all you're going to give me? I'm literally 10 times leveling up here in my own stats.
Yeah, and you're giving me a tiny little sliver
gotta
of
go find
star,
this.
and I'm like, what is your what did I do to you? Like, why do you make this so difficult to like you?
Some of them
Your
are
lost cargo.
some of them are really difficult to please. Like when you first deliver
thing.
stuff to them, like I got an S rank in multiple places, but it's like, oh, okay, well this place is going to give me like 2.5 stars, but this place is only going to give me like 2 stars.
Yeah, and it's like
what did I do to piss you off?
And it's annoying because to up their stars, you have to get missions to deliver stuff to them. So it's harder because you have to find people that are going to send stuff to them to then level up that facility.
Go to the other areas
You
and
gotta
have
go
to
fight
level
all
them up
the
while you're
people
leveling
for
up
the
those
UAC.
guys. So basically,
Yeah.
you have to do every mission.
Pretty much. And there's
Well,
endless.
it's like a
what it
100-hour
feels-
platinum.
Yeah, there are endless missions too. It doesn't stop.
Yeah.
So, and they get zany. There's some pretty fun stuff that they have you deliver.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a frustrating game.
It's a mixed bag for me.
I do think it's fun overall, and I like the combat, and I like the world, and I like building. I enjoy it.
There's the thing where you can upgrade your backpack by putting like grenade pouches and battery packs and other things like that on there, which made things a lot nicer for me.
Yeah, that's true.
Like the battery pack thing, I thought it was going to give me a way to charge my equipment while I was out on the road, but really all it did was increase the amount of charge my stuff holds.
Yeah.
Which is also pretty nice. And then the grenade pouches, like if you have the grenades on your back, you could just move them to the pouch instead, so they're not taking up space on your backpack, which is really nice as well. And then same thing with the blood bags and the front pouch thing that you had, the utility belt or whatever. Yeah, that was also really nice.
Yeah, there was some good stuff, but it was all just making it less frustrating mostly, which is annoying. It's an annoying thing.
Anything that like conserved space was also just nice in general because you had less stuff to worry about, and then like when your stuff fell off your back, like that stuff would stay with you because it's like part of your body now.
Yeah, I loved the fucking. It's like a Resi 4 mini game, like the little inventory management in Resi 4 where you like move shit around, turn it sideways, and like and like that's how the backpack thing felt. I don't know. What are you guys going to give gameplay though?
Mixed bag. I know I said earlier 4. I might put it up to a 5.
You're gonna get you gotta go with 5.
Yep, I'm gonna give it a 5.
5 for Jake.
Equally fun, equally frustrating, right down the middle.
I honestly don't know when to give it because there is fun in the game and there's like really interesting mechanics, and I do think some of the stuff in the game is like new and unique, like the whole balancing your delivery stuff and pressing L2 and R2 to like hold onto the strap so you don't like fuck.
And then you're trying to go underneath any of the
weight.
buildings and you're trying to crouch, but somehow the top package keeps hitting the fucking roof.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's like frustrating within the game, and I guess I'll go with like a 6.
Oh,
I'll be somewhat generous to it, but it is boring. Because it's nothing. Because the game doesn't respect your time. That's the thing that like I hate the most about the game is that it just takes forever. It's such a long game. And everything forces you to stop moving. It's just like, hey,
it's like
pay attention to this thing while we tell you this thing.
It's
I bum rushed it. I did one side mission, and I still had like 38 hours. For the total game. And
didn't you beat it in like 20?
I can't remember the exact time, but the time walking said 19 hours, and I think it was like 6 hours of rest time. So I think it said like 24 total, something like that.
That's a lot
25.
for this. I was over 70. I mean, not when I beat it. I was like 60.
And I rushed just as much as Craig.
I took the straight path like every time, even if it was like across a mountain. I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to build like a shitload of ladders. And
I did 69 hours is what my time was.
Nice.
I just kept going. I had a pain in my tooth before I need to have it removed because it was rotting out, and I couldn't sleep. So I just did like 12 hours Death Stranding, 12 hours Death Stranding because I couldn't sleep. So I'm like, all right, let me just get this done. And you guys had given me like a week and like 3 days, right? Something like that.
Yeah, not a lot of time.
And I beat it in 3 days.
Yeah. I'm going to give gameplay a 6 as well. It's pretty frustrating. There's a lot of really cool stuff. It's fun. But only once you get used to it, and then even then, there's times where I'm like yelling at the game, like this is so fucking stupid, like fuck this game, because it's just so frustrating. Like stupid shit will happen, like the walking, like how he walks after he delivers something, and then he'll fall off a cliff, and like all my shit will break, and I'm like, why the fuck is he walking? Why did he walk after I placed this item? Why the fuck would the game do that? Why would it do that? Why? There's no fucking reason why. None. No reason for that.
That's all he knows how to do.
There's no
is walk.
fucking excuse, and it's ridiculous. I hate that shit, and it's so frustrating. There's a lot of fun to be had, though, but it's just it's very painful.
In his sadistic nature.
Fucking Christ. I'm surprised you gave it a 6 on there as well. Because that was the one I was
I did admit that I was being really kind.
I said 6 like a week ago. I was like, gameplay's 6. This is fucking frustrating. It's a lot of fun.
Where I'm the harsh one. That shit's unacceptable for a man who created Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah.
It's a fucking 5.
It's weird. It's like an RPG. Like you're in the menu constantly. Like everything is a menu.
Yeah,
everything's a menu in this game.
You're in the menu
At
because
least
partially
to their credit. There is the
manipulate
auto stuff that you can just automatically go out.
But that doesn't work for like everything. And I mean, I was mostly in the menu for one of two things: either to like read fucking emails in order to understand like some of the side shit that's going on, because the game only explains plot to you. That's all it does. It only explains like the basic plot, and it for some reason it has to do that in 12 hours of cutscene. And then, like, the other times that I was in the menu was basically to manage my shit, like, constantly. Because, like, especially when you're in the Clifford Unger fights, you have to pick up, like, you have to pick up all your stuff. Like, all the time. You have to pick up all your stuff. Like, because it gives you nothing to start with, and it's like, hey, you know, you got to pick up your weapons in order to fight Clifford Unger and these things. So you got to pick them up. You got to pick up the blood bags. You got to do all this shit. And then you got to drop them later because you don't have because you can't just pick up more ammo for these guns.
Yeah,
which is super annoying. So yeah, you're like in the menu constantly.
Yeah, it's pretty annoying. I don't know. I think 6 is a pretty good score though. So, any more thoughts on gameplay, or is that good? You guys good?
I mean,
we have
to recap and replayability to talk more about it if we want. So
that's true. That's where some more punishment's gonna get laid down. If I'm gonna be honest. So sound and music. I think the music is really good. There's weird hipster music that they put into the game, but if you listen to the actual soundtrack on Spotify, it's like really, really good. It's like an amazing sci-fi soundtrack. Like,
it's a nice sounding soundtrack that goes well with just like, you know, walking around and doing what you're doing.
Yeah, and the trippy tracks. It reminds me a lot of like Annihilation, the movie. It's very similar to that. It's like very creepy sci-fi shit going on.
Yeah, they do that well with when the BTs arrive. Like there's like creepy sounding effects.
And even the hipster music at the very end when the credits are rolling on the beach.
Well, that's the one song I like.
It's pretty good. Yeah,
I'll keep coming back. Is actually the one tolerable song with vocals.
Yeah, as far as the douchebag hipster music goes.
Yeah, it keeps interjecting that stuff too. Like whenever you're on the road going to like the next story place, and it'll just randomly start playing the hipster music is, you know, because it's trying to be Red Dead in a way. Like I felt like, which I didn't mind that in Red Dead, but I was
it's less
like,
annoying.
Why would you do that in the first place?
Yeah,
but yeah, like it was more annoying in this just because like it's not really the music that I would listen to at all.
Yeah,
it's only supposed to be a mood setter. Not nothing you'd go listen to for fun.
Yeah, but you can do that with like the soundtrack that you have, or like put in.
Oh like yeah. That's where I'll dock it. You don't need
or set like a specific bit of instrumental music to like to set an ambiance. You know, you don't have to play like random indie music.
Exactly.
Especially since like the indie music songs always felt like it was trying to further put the game's symbolism and agenda, and like just shoving it into your face even more.
Yeah.
If this soundtrack is this good as it is as a score, you don't need any of that shit. It is a misstep to have all these bands come in and add music to it. It's fucking unnecessary, and I think
I've said this before for other reviews, but I don't really like vocalized songs in my in games, you know, because it doesn't really feel like they have a place, because it's like when you have vocalized music in a movie that isn't like because the character in the movie is singing. It's like, why? Like, what?
Yeah, it feels like I mean, this music I think fits well with the world for the most part, but it feels kind of like it feels better. I like the original soundtrack better. I like the original soundtrack a lot, and the low roar stuff, the hipster bullshit, isn't the original soundtrack. That's just extra music.
Yep.
And I feel like the game is served better by the soundtrack alone, and when I listened to it, I really enjoyed it. And so I feel like it is a detriment to have this bullshit fucking...
Well, and they can't just play the song either. They have to, like, bring it up, but like when it starts playing.
Copyright.
They have to be like, hey, you're listening to this song now. We're, like, forcing you to listen to
Low
this.
roar on Kojima Radio.
Yeah.
Fucking dumb, yeah. Voice acting's amazing. Everyone does a great job. Mads Mikkelsen's great.
For Leia Sadu.
You don't like Leia Sadu?
No, not the fragile thing. You got to knock a point for some of the accents
writing.
and stuff.
I mean, she does an all right job. Like, I don't necessarily mind the way that she delivers the line. I just don't like the way that they repeat the line.
But it's different things. It shows that there were
times.
different takes inside of the booth, and the sound engineer didn't do his job.
It's not that. It's she's literally pronouncing it two different ways on purpose. It's not that it was two different takes.
It's 1,000 different ways.
It's
it's
literally
more than
that
two.
the word is. It's literally that the word is
Fragile.
It's a French word, and she says it like because everybody calls her fragile.
Fragina?
Everybody calls her fragile. She's a French person, and so she says it in the French way for like the actual meaning to like separate it from her.
Yeah.
But I thought you hated the ha and the ka thing.
I didn't realize that...
I do hate the ha and the ka thing because like every time they say ha and ka, they always immediately tell you what they mean by that.
But how did the French woman get in the United States in the first place?
Well, I don't know. I don't know why normal people would, in a normal conversation, would say ha and ka.
Why is that?
That's the thing that bothers me even more. Because I know there are some pretentious people who would say fragile instead of just saying fragile.
Yeah, those people exist. No one's talking about Ka outside of the Dark Tower.
It's like fucking Joe whenever he's like, my last name is de Gaulier instead of de Gaulier. It's because that's how everybody else would say it. It's like, no, I have to be different. So it's.
I thought it was de Goyler. That was the one that he hates the most.
I like that one better.
De Goyler.
But
you're late, de Goyler.
That one is funner to say.
I didn't get the Game Awards. I didn't understand how they gave like one of the best performances to Norman Reedus. I think it's this weird half and half thing where like, oh, can he be a silent protagonist? Nobody's going to have a couple comments from the peanut gallery here while he's walking. Fuck, shit, god damn it kind of thing. And I don't think that's good voice acting on his part. Everybody else does a great job, minus him and Leia Sadu.
I think Reedus is fine.
Tommy Earl Jenkins and Mads Mikkelsen are fucking fantastic.
Yeah, those are two. But I think Tommy might actually be the best actor in this.
I think Die Hardman's the best character in the whole story.
I was honestly surprised he wasn't nominated at all.
I know. He was really good.
Because he had more lines than the other two guys.
Combined?
And he was better.
How much of Mads Mikkelsen was great, but how much
Mads Mikkelsen is great, but basically
I was tearing
all
up
of
at
his
the end of
lines
that
were
thing.
like basically just like, where's my BB?
Yeah, it wasn't.
And then BB. And, you know, every time you encounter him until like the very last part, and then he says stuff.
Yeah,
it was Die Hardman, it was Dead Man, and it was Hartman that were actually giving long lines for dumps
Hartman's
of
a director too. He's a French director apparently.
Right.
I don't like the way that guy looks. He looks like disgusting for some reason. Like there's just something about him that like makes me ill.
But yeah, Mads Mikkelsen didn't have.
He's like got a
lines
pencil
where
neck, but it's kind of fat. Something's going on with Hartman. It bugs the shit out of me.
It wasn't the fact that he just like is a like whore.
Yeah,
he is a like whore. That was pretty funny. I liked that a lot. Where like you like DJ'd on his little disc thing. And then it took likes.
And then he like minus likes from you.
Yeah, and then he like in his sleep,
even though he was dead,
in his death he like thumbs up to you and he gave him back. Like I thought that was pretty funny.
That's a little bit of
that's
that
a Kojima
humor. Yeah,
that and the stack shit, like how ridiculous it is. Like you're stacking these fucking massive, and then like shit's flying off when you hit the roof. That's the box from Metal Gear Solid. Basically,
that is.
It's like retarded.
You, like, run into anything and then the box dissipates. And
Yeah, or like in 3 or 2 where like you can shake the control. You know, you can move when they kick the box, and you can like make it look like it's a box.
Yeah.
Like that's that kind of shit.
yeah, it's crazy stuff.
You can like trick them into thinking that it is just a box, and they're like, "Huh, weird." And then they walk away, and you kill them. It's fucking
So it's great. I just not going to give it like perfection because of that and all the voice acting.
All right.
all of its
What do you
deliveries.
think then? What do you think for Sound of Music?
I'll give it a 9 because I'll do like half a point for the indie hipster bullshit.
Yeah.
that shouldn't be interested, and I'm fragile but not fragile. So it's a 9.
What do you think, Craig?
I'd give it an 8.
I was thinking about giving every category but gameplay a 10. But well, not every category, but gameplay. I think a 9 is appropriate, though. I don't like some of the hipster music stuff. Some of the voice acting is a little bit off. But for the most part, everything sounds really good. The world sounds great. Like the mechanics, everything. The sound is amazing for the most part. Like it's really good. Like the World War I and II scenes in the game, those are incredibly well done in every single way. Sound and music, not outside of that praise. I enjoyed it a lot. So another great category, graphics and design. I think this game looks really, really, really fucking good.
It does. It does look really good, although I have a serious problem with some of the designs because, like, they don't. It's like they didn't even really try sometimes with the, all the bunkers, all the
UAC
distribution
facilities.
centers, like all the cities. They all look exactly the same. They changed nothing. And, every area that has just a shitload of boulders, it kind of just looks like they copied and pasted all the boulders.
Yeah. It's beautiful, but it's the same.
It's beautiful, yeah. Like the rainfall looks really good, like the BTs look freaky and weird and cool at the same time.
Yeah.
There's like the weird stuff with the hands.
The
the
Corellium.
50-foot tall man in the Higgs fight. Like
that was bitching, yeah.
Awesome.
There's like some really cool things about it, but when you fight the BTs that come out of the ink, they have interesting designs. But it's just like it's like Cam said before, where there's no landmarks for you to find. There's no you're in America, but it doesn't feel like you're in America.
Yeah, it's just like you said, Cam. Ain't no getting off of this train.
Yeah, it's exactly like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just it's a really good looking game, but design wise, it kind of feels weak in certain areas as far as like landscape and stuff goes. But character design, the creature design, stuff like that, it's all really great.
Sam is pretty close to having a man bun beard.
Yeah. Yeah, he looks. All the character models look exactly like the people playing him too. Like it's pretty well done.
The monster cans look better than the real monster cans.
They do, yeah. All real monster cans have like little dents. Those are just perfect. Like, I want to find those monster cans. Like those are. They look so much tastier than regular ones.
There was one moment that actually really bothered me as far as like the design and like look stuff. When it was like that during one of the mama cutscenes when she was like trapped under the rubble. And she starts screaming, and her mouth opens really wide, and sort of shows her teeth and stuff. But I was like, that looks really weird.
Yeah,
I couldn't put my finger on why. Maybe it's the Uncanny Valley, but I was just like,
I got the Uncanny Valley at the very end with Die Hardman.
Yeah,
it hit hard. Then I was like, dude, God, that looks ridiculous. Like it looks so perfect. It's weird.
PS5
when he starts crying and everything,
yeah,
you can like see the reflection off of his tears.
Yeah,
and stuff.
like the fucking graphics in this game are way better than you think they are. Is the thing. Like it looks pretty good, and then you get into the cutscenes, it's like, no, it's really, really good.
This is where Kojima is a director, and yeah,
he's a pretty good director. I would say he's better at directing the fucking story than he is the gameplay. In this instance, at least, Metal Gear Solid is all really fun now. That's the thing.
Yeah,
those games just get better. Except for I haven't played 4 and 5 all the way, but like 3 improves on 2, improves on 1. Yeah. It's good. I don't know what the hell happened here, but gameplay wise, but I think it just looks phenomenal. And he is a movie director. He totally is. He's always been that way. Like Metal Gear Solid is totally like a 007, like a really good 007 movie. You know.
Well, I mean, come on. What's Solid Snake derived from? Snake Plissken.
Yeah.
Escape from L.A., Escape from New York. So,
yeah, it's a ripoff. Yeah, it's totally. And then they even have their own song in 3. Snake Eater. That is the most metal. That is the most Bond song I've ever heard in my life. It's more Bond than other Bond songs. Like,
oh yeah,
it's ridiculous.
More than that damn Spectre thing.
Yeah. I think I'm going to give graphics and design. I'm going to give it a 9. I think it would gain a lot from having actual landmarks in the United States. It would feel, as an American, it would feel like I'm actually rebuilding the country and not just suffering through all these rocks that don't exist in Kansas. Like the weird.
Isn't it supposed to be a trope for like to see like the San Francisco Bridge or the Eiffel? The Empire State Building.
I think you do see the Golden Gate Bridge just like broken down or something. Or
yeah, there's a couple things.
Oh, okay.
There's like one, maybe 2 things total.
There's not enough though.
But it's like completely, destroyed. Basically, that it doesn't really
right.
Yeah,
but you see those in most of the
is.
Like movies and media and stuff. You're like, oh, those are the landmarks. We got to show that's destroyed.
The thing that bothers me though is like this is literally a cross country trip. Like this is the time where you like showcase that this is America, especially since like Cam said, you're trying to save what's left of America.
Yeah,
and you got to see what you're like doing this for.
And it seems like nothing's left though.
Yeah, because you don't see any of the people. Because there's like everybody's like in the bunkers, so you literally see no people. So it's like, why? What am I doing? Why am I doing what I'm doing? Like I don't see anyone, and I don't see anything to like preserve. Like, so what's the point?
It seems like the population is sub 500 at this point. So why is it such a huge fucking deal to Die Hardman and the rest of the UAC that Bridget fucking died? They're like, oh no, we can't let anybody know the president died.
That does really
There's like
bother
nobody
me.
fucking left anyway.
Well, there's like 70,000+ in each of those main cities.
Yeah, well, they should have designed them out and had them turn into hubs.
I like how they're a ship coming out of the ground too. That's pretty cool. Of like the beach and stuff. Yeah. Sea imagery.
Yeah, it couldn't change in any way, shape, or form.
Well, it's just because like everything
facilities, every single buddy's
symbolism.
private location is the same too. So the same that Conan O'Brien's is the same as Jeff Keighley's.
Yeah,
which was the same as. Did you ever go to Unger's?
Yeah.
One? Okay. Yeah. Same thing.
Oh no, I didn't go to Unger's. I went to the bad guys.
Oh, Higgs. Sorry, I mixed that up.
Which is funny because I still have Higgs missions, and I'm like, he shot himself. Oh, we forgot to say that he killed himself on the beach when he was stranded.
Because when you're doing the last chapter, and you figure out that BB's dead, Fragile tracks you down, and Fragile admits to you and says, "Hey, look, I didn't shoot him. I gave him a choice to either be here or take himself out, and he took himself out."
Yeah,
because you said, "I didn't want him to break me. I fix shit."
He's one of the best characters, one of the best actors in there too. Troy Baker did a really good job.
Yeah, he did.
As Higgs. Speaking of voice acting and stuff, really fucking great. He's also very odd looking.
With the voice acting, there's a couple of fourth wall breaks too.
Yeah.
Be like, "Game over." You want to try again.
He says that a lot.
Stuff like that.
There's also like the while you're on the beach, there's like the 5 figures floating up above, and they're like the previous extinction entities.
Yeah.
So they're all basically like godlike beings, just watching what's going down.
It's pretty sweet. It's really cool.
Pretty sweet, and like when it tells you that, it's like oh.
And even that ends up paying off as far as the concept and story, because that's what I was wondering in all the trailers. What the fuck were the 5 crosses doing up in the middle of the thing when he's on the beach?
Yeah.
And it pans out to see the crosses. Even that pays off.
Yeah. What do you two think about the graphics and design though? What are you going to give it?
I'll go with Craig on the knocking a couple points because the lack of locations, every single facility is the same, but the graphics are top fucking notch. This is the greatest looking game I've ever played. so far. I haven't played Red Dead 2 yet, but
that one's pretty good. But yeah,
I'll give it an 8.
Yeah, I think I'll go with an 8 as well. Just because, like, the vehicles don't really have much variance either. Like, you get either a motorcycle or a truck, and then they look the same regardless. Like,
and I don't think good design choices is being able to just swap its color palette. You switch the way a vehicle looks, not just make it green and fucking orange.
Yeah. And then all the enemies, as far as like the mule guys, they're all dressed the same. So like, there's no real difference in that. Same with like the terrorists. The terrorists look exactly like the mules, except for they just shoot you. So it's like, oh, okay. Well, there's not much difference there.
Yep.
And yeah, since you don't really see any people, like the landscape becomes more important in a way, because like the only other characters you're interacting with are like for the story.
You'd be able to run across someone and push them out of the way.
Yeah, and so it's like, well, okay, I would like to see something while I'm, doing these walks. Maybe it would give like something to do while you're delivering stuff.
Yeah, because you don't really want to explore as much as you should.
Yeah, you don't want to explore because there's nothing to see. Like you're basically just trying to get somewhere, and you have to like make the path yourself. You have to like place the ladders and stuff. And then you don't see anything off in the distance. So it's like, oh, well, if there was like something interesting out there that you'd want to see, you'd be like, oh, okay, well, I'm gonna go out there and see what the fuck that thing is. There's nothing like that in this game.
It doesn't pull you like it should for how good it looks and how interesting the world is.
Yeah, it's kind of it's bland in that way, and it's kind of sad.
Yeah, I agree. It's too bad because it has a lot of things going for it in the design area, in the graphics area. It just needs, I think it needs a little more America is what it is.
It needs more personality in the world.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have that.
Other open world games have done that very well. Horizon Zero Dawn did it really well, and I think Red Dead 2 did it really well.
Last of Us did it as well.
And they're all
that one's more of a linear game, but
Yeah.
You go through like Salt Lake and
those other ones are similar though.
Rip our home state.
Yeah, and it looks exactly like it does too. The Wasatch Front, it's really weird. But like Horizon Zero Dawn and Red Dead 2 especially, they're very similar in like their vastness of scale, the way they deal with scale, as Death Stranding is. Like, because it seems like it's just across the way, but you're really going across like miles and miles and miles, right?
Yeah, you're basically going all the way across the country.
Yeah,
so.
and those games are similar to that, but I think they dealt with the design aspect a lot better than this game did.
Yeah.
There's a few things it's lacking in, but I think it looks really good. And it makes sense of it because it says like a lot of the land's deteriorated, but it's like, is that what's underneath everything is just shitty rocks?
Well, see, that's the thing that still bothers me about this game is the timefall isn't explained enough for that to hold any water for me, because like it's just like, oh well, this is a convenient plot point or this is a convenient thing. Timefall radically changed the environment that we live in. It's like, okay, but how did you build things that can withstand it while this was happening? Like, I just don't understand. Because they have clothing that he wears the rain suit, which isn't affected by the timefall.
Yeah, it's like, why not?
It's like, why isn't everything that you have this way? Like,
why isn't it all covered in plastic? Yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe it's the tar. Maybe it's the oil that comes, the petroleum used in plastic.
Maybe.
That doesn't really make any sense, but whatever.
Like, why are all the buildings covered in that? Because like it doesn't seem like it.
Yeah, and those mostly live forever.
Yeah. Or at least their buildings have lasted for a while, and they're not at all decayed by the timefall like they would be.
I don't know. Maybe it's the metal.
Because even the stuff that's been destroyed, like the one city that was blown up, like you can go see it still.
Yeah.
Even though the timefall you'd think would have like gotten rid of it,
because it's gotten rid of most everything else. Why not this city?
Yeah. Why not that stuff? It's like they have something to build that resists it, but they don't ever talk about that shit.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, if you have that, why is all the stuff that I'm carrying
trash
destroyed?
Yeah. They have timefall like resistant wood and stuff, and things you can use to resins. I think things that you can use to build.
Really
but
make
it's like
a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, it's like, does that slow the decay on those particular building items? Like, I don't know. I don't get it.
WD-40,
why don't we use this all the time?
Yeah, especially since like you would think that because these packages are really important. The like the sizes of the stuff, you'd want to like reuse these things.
Yeah.
so that they'd all be resistant to timefall instead of just like letting them decay and
Yeah,
become
it
rusted
seems
over. And
everything should be saran wrapped in this game. Everything should be like
essentially, yeah, like
freezer wrapped. Like, yeah,
especially if you're a porter, like you would expect like your stuff to be protected.
Oh, great!
like,
Another menu.
Because the vehicles,
the fucking saran wrap
they have-
machine.
You have to use
They
the
have that
6 axis
spray.
on the controller to wrap
you guys
around.
remember
God,
that they have
Jesus.
that spray that's you can spray the containers with. That,
Yeah.
like protects.
Why not
them
spray
more.
it?
So
Why
it's
not
like,
40.
Why not get preemptive spray
Yeah,
to protect it?
Why
beforehand?
even have spray if you have the ability to protect what it is anyway?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, it's dumb. Yeah, I don't get it.
yeah, there's I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah. All right. So last gameplay category, possibly the most important category, replayability. How likely are you to play this again? Have you played it again? Are there any drives to play it again? What do you think, Greg?
No. I don't really think it's worth playing again. I'm not entirely sure it was worth playing the first time.
Still not sure about that.
I do really like what ended up being the story, the main plot element, but the time to get there, the stuff that I had to slog through, it basically just became like, oh, well, this would be much better as a movie. I should just, if I felt like I wanted to see this again, I would just watch it on YouTube as the cutscenes.
Yeah.
Because, like, there's no other...
Well, you can't really get the BB love as much.
Yeah, but you could remember it from, like, actually playing it.
That's true.
And,
Luis.
Yeah. But it's just...
Sam's a fucking idiot.
I don't know. It's just... I couldn't possibly recommend this game to anyone, and, like, because of that... I mean, there is replay value in the game. There's like endless side missions. There's like a shitload of side missions to do. Like,
yeah, you can rebuild the roads.
Everything
that.
in the game decays, including the roads. So you got to like continuously upkeep. There's reasons to keep playing. I don't know if there's reasons to replay.
Yeah, that counts towards replaying as or continual play.
Yeah, but
I would say.
To start over, I don't know. The story would be really the only drive for that, and
you got to suffer for
going
10
through
hours
another.
before you do it.
Going through for another 20 hours to get to the point where the story like picks up. It's like, oh, okay, well, I don't really want to do that.
Yeah.
Because that's a lot of time sink just to get that last 5 hours of story.
Yeah, agreed.
So I don't really think that the gameplay has. I mean, the game. We already said the gameplay is like pretty boring. It's frustrating. The gameplay, like as far as combat, isn't really rewarding. It's not. It feels like it's taking away from what you're doing. It feels intrusive in a way. There's really no replay value for me, so I'm going to give it like a 1.
Seriously, a 1.
Yeah.
Wow, what about you, Jake?
There's the trophy pull.
Yeah, there's the trophy
There's
pull.
certainly that.
And that's yeah. That is a reason
lot of
to
similar-
continue playing, but...
Oh, yeah, I'm not going to go all the way to a platinum either myself, so it's absolutely ridiculous. There's a ton of content in this game.
I mean, you get
because we haven't
60%
even
of the trophies just
discussed
from playing it normally.
Finding all the chips, which will give you new designs and material you can make for the auto, whatever it was called.
Yeah.
The auto 3D printer. You got to connect all the UAC stuff, and there's a ton of content here. As much as I despised a lot of my time playing it, Craig made a lot of good points, and yes, if you're looking at this just to view it as a story, you should just go watch the cutscenes on YouTube. It's fantastic if you do it that way as a movie. But because the amount of content that is in there, even though a lot of it is filler, this is blown out the video game. You're like, okay, yeah, well, it's an 80-hour game. Yeah, because 70 of it you're walking, and it's boring. So, 4? I'll give it a 4.
All right, 4 from Jake. I'll give it a 6. I don't know. No. I'll go 5. I have replayed it a lot, and I do enjoy it. It's fulfilling to do the orders. It's fulfilling to, like, build out the map, flesh out the world a little more. I like the little signs and things that people leave behind to help you boost your characters. I like the team building aspect, and I think that's a good pull to come back. The trophies, of course, are always nice. But it's not. It's just kind of grind, is what it is at the end.
Yep.
Yeah, that's really all it felt like.
I would play it again for the story, though, and I think I could get through it pretty fast.
I mean, if you skipped like every single cutscene until it gets to where it needs to be.
Yeah.
You'd be sitting at 19 hours like myself.
Exactly.
I figured out that was on repeat.
But that's a lot of time to get. Like, the cutscenes are probably only like 8 hours worth, maybe. And 19 to play that, it's like.
Yeah.
I kind of agree. Just YouTube the thing. I do. Overall, I do recommend this game, but go into it expecting to love the story, not the game itself, which is annoying because a game should be fun.
Yeah, it should be, and
this is why I think the story is why it deserves to be nominated for Game of the Year. But the gameplay, I don't think it wins. It's up there. It's like top 3 games of the year for me personally. I don't know if it's better than Resi 2. I think the story is that good. I think it's really good.
Yeah, the story is great, but it can't make up for everything.
It ain't no Sekiro. There's no fucking way it's better than Sekiro.
It ain't even the DMC5 as far as gameplay.
No, it's not. Yeah, and it's a big aspect because it's a long game. There's a lot of the gameplay.
It needs to be switched up.
And see, that's my biggest thing is like if this game were a lot shorter and the pacing were more, it was more set. Like if it was like 15 hours, the game would be absolutely solid. Like I would have less problems with the gameplay because you'd have, you wouldn't have as much you wouldn't have as much time, getting fucked over by all these boulders. You wouldn't have the roads would be built better. You would have because you'd want that. You want a more solid paced game. You'd have to, and I think a more structured multiplayer aspect would also do the game a lot more. It would give it a lot more soul than it kind of has. It kind of feels empty the whole time that I played it because you go through. You spend most of the chapters being like, I just need to get through this. I just need to finish this fucking mission because like I said, and I got fucking mad at with the whole chiral artist part. Like all the missions are like that, every single one. You're going between all of these things until you get to like Cartman. Then he's like, okay, this is where we introduce the extinction stuff. It's like, this is getting interesting. This is really cool. And then it's like, okay, well we're gonna slog some more. And then it's like, okay, final stretch, good stuff. It's like,
you actually end up on the beach.
Yeah, it's a lot of poor pacing, a lot of gameplay that feels like it's empty, it's boring, it serves no purpose. So if you only did the missions specifically for those characters, the one mission to like go to each new place. Get through with the story. Get some of the main stuff taking a lot less materials and whatever. Because even just playing through the main story like I did, I got every bit of the the items and equipment that I needed. Like I didn't need anything beyond Power Skeleton 1 and the power gloves and whatever
it got
else
pretty
I got.
Sweet, but
they get better, no doubt.
Yeah.
But
you also get vehicles.
I also got the vehicles. I also got the the level 3 boots and shit.
The zip
just
lines.
from playing and the zip lines like all from
you barely
just
have to
story.
walk at all.
Like,
honestly,
you don't have to do anything by the end of the game.
If you do
It's
it
like,
right, a pair of shoes will last you like 10 hours.
Yeah, I switched my shoes 3 times. In the game, and it was 40 hours. So it's like, okay, well, it's not necessary, and it doesn't feel like I needed to do any of the side stuff because of that.
Yeah.
Like I had what I needed, and I didn't need anything.
And you
more.
were already getting pulled away from the main story by the main quests because you have to connect everybody.
Yeah,
and it's
like
I want to just
felt-
continue the story, but I have to go add a Mountaineer. I've got to go add this fucking
Yeah, it felt like you were
crazy-
going out of your way for like those other people too, because
Yeah.
it's like for some of them, it was like, oh, okay, this makes sense. You're going to Mama's lab, you're connecting her. You're going to Hartman's lab, you're connecting him.
But some of them, you got to like play with their balls.
Yeah,
before they
some of that
fucking
stuff
join.
makes sense. But then it's like, oh, you got to go help the mountaineer. You got to like go bring back this doctor's stuff to like make him so that he can have his baby just fine. And oh, you got to go help the chiral artist and this guy get married, even though it's. It's a slog of stuff that's like it feels completely unconnected, and your character Sam fucking hates people. He just does. He doesn't want to be a part.
What is it called?
He stays away from people on purpose. He doesn't like being touched. He doesn't like he doesn't like being around other people. And it's like, okay, well, why am I sitting here making these random personal connections to these people that he obviously doesn't like and doesn't want to be around?
Yeah, it's
he eventually
weird.
makes him grow. I mean, like he grows and learns to love.
Yeah, but he
Louise.
grows in the last like couple hours.
He grows in the last couple hours, and
know.
it's only because like he goes and hugs Amelie, and that's the thing. And like right after that, it's like, oh, I realized that you don't care if people touch you now, and it's like the hugging of Amelie is the thing that completely changes his phobia. That's
Yeah. He does have a strong connection with her. She did save his life.
He does, but I don't know. It seems like a fast.
I think I wish there was a way for his like his soul to have been stuck on the beach, so that's why he's a lifeless personality for most of the game, because his soul is there, but it's not. His whole thing is.
Yep, the Han and the Ka got separated.
Yeah, I don't think his did though, which is dumb.
Yeah.
But whatever. I don't know. Some of that stuff is still confusing to me. I don't really understand it all the way, but. I think the story is really, really, really good.
The story itself is really good.
I think it's probably the best story in a game. I really do. God of War is pretty close. It's a little more convoluted than I'd like, but I think it does a much better job than most Final Fantasy games as far as convolution goes. So from a Japanese convolution to an American viewer, this is better than what I've gotten for the last few years of my life with convoluted storylines.
It is one of the best storylines, but it's also like
poorly paced.
It's poorly served by gameplay and lack of like world building.
Yeah, that's fair.
So it's like it's the story element kind of feels isolated in a way, because you get past this empty bit of gameplay for the first 30 hours. And then the last like 7 is like pure game. It is like raw story, and it's like, oh man, this is like fucking sweet.
Yeah.
So you kind of forget about the previous 30 hours in some ways, but it's like it's not enough, because like I still remember.
Yeah.
I still remember the rage. Like
Pepperidge Farms remembers.
Pepperidge Farm always remembers.
Yeah. Overall thoughts. I think the game is good. I don't think I kind of regret paying as much as I did for it. I put enough time into it to justify what I paid, but
I think it's like $35 on Amazon right now,
and Best Buy,
and I paid $70 for it for the
pretty
steelbook.
good discount already now.
I think 35 is a good price. You'll
35,
probably get enough enjoyment
maybe,
out of it.
Yeah.
It's worth a playthrough.
I'm cheap and Jewish. I'll say 20.
Yeah, $20. I think it's worth playing. Just don't expect to love every aspect of it. Yeah. I would say. That's kind of it for my final thoughts. Really great in a bunch of ways, and the scores are all over the board because of that. Because it's really good in the ways it's really good, but it's really not good in the ways it's not good. So it's a weird game. It's a weird mixed bag, and it's a lot better. I think it's better than what we're giving it. But the structure in which we rate things, it makes it tough.
Yeah.
As a whole unit, it's not great.
You don't think so?
No,
Okay.
I don't. I would give the story a 10 out of 10 if I could, but because it forces you to do other things in the plot, it just can't go there. And it's a game that's, I would say it's a movie that's poorly served by being a game.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think it'd be a better movie.
Yeah. So like a good 3.5 hour movie, and it would be amazing. But instead, it's a 40-hour game, and it's
lackluster.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. What about you, Jake? Final thoughts?
Just dueling up with what Craig said. Pretty
Yeah.
much sums it up for the same for me. And also what you said, which is strangely, because I can mend the two, is it is a fantastic story.
Yeah.
And I'd only put it second to The Last of Us. I think it's better than God of War's.
Yeah.
Definitely. So
I was tearing up at the end. It was like when he was dying with his kid. That was pretty beautiful, man. I thought it was really powerful.
Yeah.
There's a lot of powerful moments in those last few things.
It's tough,
like
yeah.
The Die Hardman
shit,
part,
yeah.
and then the whole bit where he's gonna burn Lou, and
Yeah, it's
and then,
rough.
Yeah,
man.
it gets to you, but
the ends don't justify the means.
yeah, the ends don't justify the means.
The 80-hour means. Yeah. All right, so that's it for our final thoughts. So, gonna recap our scores here. Story 6 from Craig, 10 from me, 9 from Jake. Gameplay 6 and 6 for me and Craig, 5 from Jake. Sound and music 8 from Craig, 9s from me and Jake. Graphics and design 8 from Craig, 8 from Jake, 9 from myself. Replayability 1 from Craig, 5 for me and 4 for Jake. That is a total score of 29 out of 50 for Craig. Let me check it real quick. 29 out of 50 for Craig, 39 out of 50 for me, and 34 out of 50 for Jake. Official Nude Clan score 68 out of 100 for Caleb and I's score, and with Jake it's 75 out of 100. So Jake brought it up a few points, and the Metacritic score for Death Stranding is
that before or after they started altering people's? There's that controversy going on too.
Oh, well, that was user scores.
Should be
Metacritic doesn't care about user scores. I mean, it does, but this is the critic
it
scores.
should be for outlets too. Just saying.
82 out of 100.
No,
is the
even I'm not willing to. Fuck that. No,
I think it's probably I think it's about what we said combined. I think it's about a 75.
Yeah,
it's got some good stuff. Craig obviously disagrees because Craig's score is like
he wants to.
Craig's is
like
a 68. No, Craig's is a. No, Craig's is a 58.
Yeah.
That's what it deserves.
That's pretty bad.
Well, I mean, Craig doesn't want me to head the copy back, so it does state something.
Yeah.
No,
it's like, just purge it. No, he's still a hoarder. He's still got to keep it.
Yeah, I mean, it's Steelbook.
It doesn't matter if it's shit.
Yeah,
it's Steelbook.
Hey, even I bought a.
So that's how it is.
Yeah, I don't know. It deserves it. But it is a really fantastic story.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's honestly too bad in a way because I did really end up liking the story, and the whole time I was like, I really don't know how I feel about this fucking game. Like, I just don't know because it's so jarring at moments, because it goes back and forth between being really interesting and being like, oh my god, this is a slog.
Yeah, it's so poorly paced. Yeah, it's too bad. It's too bad it's not better than it is because it could be it could be a real contender for Game of the Year. But as of right now, it's kind of the joke.
It wouldn't be if it was like I said it was, a 15-hour game. It wouldn't be a contender. It would be the Game of the Year.
You think so? I think so too. I think if they made that story more compact,
if it was compacted, concise, and the game, some of the gameplay elements were more solidly there, then and rewarding, then yeah, it would definitely be Game of the Year without question.
It's too bad that it's not though. All right, I think that's it for the review. We have a drawing that we're going to do, and then we'll do the Hog League. So stay tuned for that, guys. And thanks for hanging out for the review of Death Stranding. All right, guys. In case this is a third day of recording. As you might be able to tell. Sorry, we've been busy hanging out as friends in real life and not just on the podcast and with family and stuff. So this is Christmas Eve right now, and we have our winner for the December drawing. Congratulations to A4 Extreme / Junk Food King / Mitch. Name drop. Sorry, I dropped something in real life as well. Congrats, man. Thanks for the support. Thanks for all the good times. As you know, lots of great games. We know you got the PS4. We've got Death Stranding. We have to give a copy of that away. That's added to the thing. We've got Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice, a bunch of newer games. You know the ones. I mean, anything that we've reviewed recently, we are supposed to have a copy of. So let us know, and we'll get you hooked up. So thank you again for all the support, and thank you to everyone who supports us. Big shout out to Junk Food King, Skull Haiti, Ivan, Riathmus, Chase Series Lonnie, DK Asuna, Jared Capino, Lalania Gose, Nicholas Carpasso, Sear, Digimass, Ryan McPherson, Jared Leach, Douglas Hopkins, Jim Lee, Austin Bracken, Alex Rads, Stephen Huffman, William Flores, James Dorsey, David Portnow, Penguin Mage, James Gameboy, Happy Puppet, Suzanne Bardsley, Victor Hart, Anger S. Black Dude California, Brad Perrick, and Nick Craig. Thank all of you for your support. We really appreciate it. Let's do some Hog League. All right, guys. Week 13 of Hog League. The matchups this week. Wonderful matchups. Super exciting. Great stuff. Step motherfuckers doesn't count. Schweiss's Sweatmeisters, Matunica's Heroes. The most offensive against Chase versus the world versus himself versus no one. Abrat cracks the whip. Romager's Rompers. Dukes of Death at A4 last place. Schweiss's Sweatmeisters fall 256-40. Top Matunica Hero, Porcupine Racer. Top and only Sweatmeister, myself, for Death Stranding and the Death Stranding soundtrack. Thank you, team. Thank you. Step Motherfuckers conquer the Doesn't Counts 1042-555. It's sad because that's the second highest score of the week, 555. But, of course, you're against the best team in the league. Top Step Motherfucker, Anger Ass Black Dude. Top Doesn't Count, Jacob himself. Team leads really pulling it. Most offensives take out Chase and his crew, 434-84. Top most offensive, Player by Nature. Top Chase, Kingzilla. Abrax's whip doesn't strike true against the Rompers. They win 367-323. Top Romper, Simon Parker. Top whip, Allig. It's a pretty good upset there. Dukes of Death take out A for last place, 503-387. Top Duke, Deathwife, top A4. A4 himself, winning all sorts of shit this week. So, week 14, the last week of the year. I'll tally up the points. I guess we'll just have to do like I'll do something. I'll get the points right before we do the big reset, and then we'll announce winners for overall and shit. But we'll record the next podcast before this is over. Before the year is over, so we'll do that after. But this week, guys, my Sweatmeisters against A for last place. Step Motherfuckers against Abrat cracking his whip. Dukes of Death, Chase, Romager's Rompers, Matunica's Heroes. Doesn't counts. Most offensives. So, guys, get in, log your hog, join the fun, join the competition, and we will see you guys again next time. But until then, guys.